Hello, everyone,
Hello.
and welcome to the stream. Tonight we have these three other wonderful people joining me. We'll start with some introductions, going from Tom to Ace to Chris. So, Tom, feel free.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Tom. You know me. You have Colin to thank for getting me back active on Instagram with that flash reel last week. So follow me at Tom's Tracks 99. This might be the floodgates opening to do some more content finally.
There you go. Ace,
Yeah, it's Ace here. Ace Cough on Facebook.
and as we can see, Ace is decorated early for Christmas in the background there, as usual.
Yep.
Chris, what about you?
What is up, everybody? Bacon Chris here, and you know me, the adventure guide, the theme park guide, etc.
So we are going to start off as usual with a few pre-planned points that we're going to discuss. I do have room for more, so if any of you three have ideas for things you want to discuss, you can shoot me a message and I will put it in. First, I'm going to start off with a little bit of a channel update because we are approaching the 10-year birthday of Hollywood Studios. I created this channel. You can go look on December 4th of 2014, which means this is the 10th year. December 4th marks 10 years. And I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do to commemorate it. Obviously, I don't really have much time on my hands. As I'm sure many of you know, I am attending college now. So finding time to just go to theme parks is hard enough, let alone to plan out a video of a certain magnitude for this anniversary. But I'm going to do my best to put something together. And the idea I had, at least as a part of it, is actually going to be requesting something from you guys. So obviously, I have taken tons of pictures with everyone that has met up with me in the parks over the years. So I'm asking you all to share with me pictures you have taken with me to my email address, my Instagram, Facebook, whichever one suits you best. Send it to me. And just make sure you denote that it's like for the 10-year anniversary. That way I can send it off to a folder and I don't wind up losing it, because I'm going to take all of them and put them into one big video, more than likely, to commemorate the 10 years, because the 10 years would not have happened if it wasn't for all of you guys. So I want to thank you all by showcasing the times we've met, and I really do appreciate all of that. And the Hollywood fan meetup is still happening. I haven't decided when it is happening. I want to get through final season and all that first, but I promise it will happen this year, probably a little later on in holiday in the park. So stay tuned for that, because I definitely will be making an announcement regarding that. And then even more of you guys will get to meet me, which is going to be great. So just wanted to put this out there. I'm going to make a separate video for it as well, because I know not everybody watches the streams. But if you are watching now and you know you've taken a picture with me and met me in person, send over that picture. That way I can put it into a folder and get it ready for the 10-year video. So with that out of the way, we're going to start with the first bit of coaster discussion, which is about Pantherian. So for those of you who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, let me pull it up. This is technically an early week, and usually I wouldn't cover early weeks, but I don't think this is really significant enough to be like that pressed about, since it's just a ride retheme. But King's Dominion hasn't not announced yet, but this is what I-305 is becoming. Pantherian. So I have thoughts about the name, that's for sure. I love the color scheme. And I mean, I think we kind of all saw the theme coming, that it was going to fit in with Jungle X. It became pretty apparent that once they got rid of the NASCAR theming from Dale Earnhardt, they put it to Project 305. We all knew that was temporary. I guess they just needed an extra year to get it all ready so they can do this. But this looks great. I mean, I love the graphic we have here. This comes from Coaster Hub. Like I said, it was leaked a little early. But this is what the trains are going to look like. Track supports everything. But I really I'm not huge on the name. I just think it is, for starters, it's way too similar to Pantheon. Pantheon is literally an hour away from King's Dominion. Pantherian, Pantheon, they're both massive Intamin coasters, the best coaster in their park, arguably. Strange move, in my opinion. On top of that, you have Reptilian, Rapterra. You have rides that have such similar names to this one already in the park. Personally, I would have rather seen them call it like Panther 305 or something. I think 305 should have been kept as a part of the name, because that kind of is the identity of the ride. It's known as 305 through all of its iterations. So I do think this is a really strange name. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks this either. Tom, what do you think about Pantherian?
I mean, hey, the paint job looks great. It is great. And that's where I think the greatness ends, rather. like you said, I think that was my first call out. It's like you've got Panthera, Reptilian, Pantheon at the other park. What was the other one?
Reptilian,
I have it three.
Raptera.
Yes, that was the three. So you've got three tongue twisters of a coaster names right in the general vicinity of each other. Doesn't help that it sounds very close to Pantheon. You make all the points that I am trying to make. I feel very similar. It just name doesn't do it for me. I'll probably still just call it I-305, as a lot of us did to Medusa when it was Bizarro. But it is what it is, I guess.
Bacon Chris, what do you think about the new name of I-305?
It's okay. They should have just called it Tiger 305 because basically Pantherian is just themed to a panther, and panthers are not orange. Tigers are orange and black, and
That is true.
But they should have just had the track, like yellow.
Ace, what are your thoughts? On Pantherian?
It's intriguing. To me, it's underwhelming, the name. I was expecting something with 305 in it. I concur with Tom and you on that one. And it is similar to Pantheon. So, but I like the color scheme. The color scheme is really nice.
I definitely agree with the color scheme. I like this color scheme a lot better than the way it used to be. It used to look like a McDonald's coaster, but I'm sure the name will grow on me eventually. If I'm going to be honest, I'm probably still going to call it I-305. Yeah, I don't really see myself calling it by this new name, but I did want to share this with you guys because not many people have seen it yet. I'm assuming they're announcing it tomorrow. I'm guessing that one of the news outlets decided to release it early, and that's how this got out. So, oh well for them, I guess. But like I said, this isn't like a huge announcement. That's why I am covering it, because it's not like a brand new coaster being announced or anything. So it's all right. Moving on, let's discuss Flash, because we just saw it ever since the last live stream. It has tested for the first time. We've seen what it looks like, how it's going to ride. It's interesting because it runs, you would think it would run identical to its clone Cloud Shuttle over in China, but it runs a little differently. It doesn't run as fast in certain parts, and it runs faster in other parts. Something interesting you can notice from watching my testing footage is on the first spike, the spike closest to the station when it goes more up vertically, you can see where the sensor prox is on the track itself, and the train is actually going over that right now. So I imagine they're going to have to make an adjustment, whether they make the launch weaker or they just raise the prox. That way it doesn't throw errors. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Whereas on the other side of the spike, on the side closest to the chiller roll, the train does not come anywhere near the prox. It's pretty far away. So that tells me it can definitely do with having a little more speed through the chiller roll going up into the spike, which I think is exciting. I already kind of had an idea of what this ride was going to look like, so the testing didn't really surprise me. It seems to surprise a lot of other people, though, because a lot of people were complaining that it looked slow, that it didn't look exciting, which I thought was kind of surprising since we already know what the ride looks like since there's one that exists. I do think it's going to be a great ride. As for where it's going to rank in the park, I mean, that's kind of hard to pick as of right now because none of us have experienced, at least I don't think any of us here have experienced the new gen Vekoma Thrill Coaster that's on the scale of this. So trying to assume how it's going to ride, not super easy. But if I had to guess, it'll definitely be like, I'd say top 7, top 6. It depends what your preferences are. If you guys saw my recent ranking video, I have Green Lantern number 5, I believe Batman number 6, and then Mine Train 7. I got a lot of hate for having Green Lantern that high and Mine Train that high. But I'd say it could be better than Green Lantern, depending on how it winds up riding again. I mean, going through those elements backwards, I think is going to feel a lot more intense than people realize. While it may look a little slow, remember that going through those elements backwards is a completely different sensation, which I think will definitely elevate the experience. Plus the fact that it has onboard audio, that was something nobody saw coming. And we only just realized it because Great Adventure posted close-up pictures of the train. You guys will see my update on that tomorrow, but I'm really excited for it still. I think the excitement has definitely wore off quite a bit now that it's delayed to 25 and it's been a really slow construction progress, but I still think it's going to be a good ride. I'm sure the lines will be pretty long, but I think capacity will be better than a lot of people are expecting. Tom, how excited are you for the Flash Vertical Velocity next year?
It was something to see it finally move on the track. Like, that is huge. I do realize we still have to wait till next year, but at least now there's something to visualize now, which is pretty cool. And let me just say, for all And maybe my fellow musicians on the stream or tuning in will appreciate this. But to me, it almost sounds like Chiller if you just threw like a compressor on there or whatever, but like vague like hints of what Chiller did sound like. So that was pretty cool. The onboard audio is super exciting because, again, never at all discussed in any press releases or anything we knew about the ride. So who knows what that audio will be? Maybe just like lightning sound effects, other flash adjacent noises, I guess. Who knows? Maybe there'll be like some music either from like the Flash show or something. But either way,
have like a voice actor playing as the Flash narrating the whole ride. Now
they could do that. Yep. Right? Yeah, they could totally go like the cheesy route like that. But honestly, my first impression is that it'll probably just be like lightning sound effects. If you like watch any of like the Justice League cartoons or the movies, there's always like that sound as he's charging up to run. So probably something along those lines. I'll be looking out for that. But just nice to see a visual on it. Like it exists. It's here. It's moving. Good. Now open it.
Yes, exactly. Ace, how excited are you for Flash?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic about it. After waiting a year for it, so it's going to be largely anticipated in 2025. So looking forward to it.
Megan, Chris?
Well, I mean, with the Flash vertical velocity, I'm looking forward to, and it actually completes the collection of DC rides there are. Ooh, and the seats do look comfortable. I mean, what they need is they need a test seat.
Right.
But
Chris, I think you're breaking up a little bit. You might have a weak Wi-Fi connection.
Over at Maury's, the Sea Serpent Coast, or when I was at Hershey properly on a ride, so we don't have to cause chaos at the line and stuff. And with Flash vertical velocity, I also predict there's going to be maybe they'll have like some station instructions read by the Flash, and then they'll have the noise, and then not really audio like in the speakers. Yes, my Wi-Fi is acting on it.
Yeah,
so,
that's all right.
They're not going to have that crappy audio like, Bizarro did. But, I'm pretty sure there's not audio.
It took
only
two seats out. But I think Flash is going to be different. As you can see, it might be a little hard to see because of the way this is formatted. But there's those black shapes on each side of the headrest. Those are the speakers. So each seat has two speakers on either side. So there's going to be some really good, like high-quality audio, which, again, we didn't really expect, but this has it. Sirens Curse is going to have it, and I imagine most of the new-gen Vekoma thrill coasters are going to have it, which is really, really exciting. But that's enough Flash discussion. I'm bringing this up, again, because I'm getting more and more questions about it. We have to talk about King Ka. So, again, I will reiterate the same thing I have been saying, that I'm aware of the rumors. Believe me, I'm on the internet. I know. I've heard it. We've all heard it. And I'm not going to talk about them because of the fact that there isn't any evidence to support it, plus the fact that there's no official announcement that's come from Great Adventure or Six Flags as of now regarding any of these rumors about Green Lantern, King Ka, Zumanjaro, Twister, any of them. They could go. They might not go. I'm not confirming or denying the rumors. I'm simply just saying that from our standpoint right now, other than stuff that's heard behind the scenes, again, hearsay, there's nothing physical that we can see that proves that it is true or not true. So I would still say go ride them because who knows, maybe it is true. We don't know for sure. There's nothing to confirm or deny it yet. I'm really hoping the park, if it is true, does make an official statement soon. That way we have something to work with. But as far as I know, King Ka is going to run a little later in the season than usual, so take that as you will. Green Lantern, there's probably only a couple weeks left. I could see like probably November 10th being the end of it for this year, and we don't know if it's going to come back next year. So assuming that maybe it doesn't, go ride it as much as you can. As you know, I'm a huge fan of it. I've been getting my rides in just in case you don't know. And with King Ka, if it does run into Holiday in the park, that's a pretty interesting thing considering they've never done that before. And I've heard rumblings about that. Again, nothing's confirmed yet. The park has not said whether or not it will open that late in the season. In fact, somebody asked guest relations directly, and they flat out said, we do not know when King Ka is going to close yet this year. So I don't even know if most people at the park know what the situation is with Ka or Green Lantern. Things are changing pretty quickly and seeing things developing behind the scenes. So again, I'm not confirming, denying. I'm not going to make a separate video on all these rumors until something gets confirmed, because believe me, I'm not someone that's going to be in total denial. If it does happen, it happens. It's going to be absolutely devastating if it does happen, but we just don't know yet. So for all of you that are getting angry at me in the comments saying, oh, you're denying it, blah, blah, I'm not. I'm just working with the fact that we do not have anything from the park. And that makes it kind of tough to try to discuss this because, again, we don't have any real evidence. So I hope you guys understand that. This is how the second live stream in a row I've had to talk about this. Hopefully I won't have to do it on the next one. But
I hope those great adventure people will consider what you have to go through, Colin, so they can at least make an announcement, you know? If not for them,
I would love to hear an announcement soon. I really would. Whether they come out and say that the rumors are false or they come out and say the rumors are true and that they are getting rid of them, just something at this point.
We just want closure.
I am hoping I can get an official word from a spokesperson for the park from the park very soon. That way I can make a proper comment on it, I guess you could say. But what I can tell you guys is that Zumanjaro, we don't know if or when that will ever reopen. If these rumors do wind up being true and they are done at, say, the end of 2024, Zumanjaro isn't open during Fright Fest right now. And quite honestly, I don't see it opening again the rest of this year. I just would be kind of surprised if it did. So that could very well mean that the final rides of Zumanjaro were earlier in the year, and we don't know. Again, not saying that it's true, but we do not know right now. There's not enough concrete information to say whether or not it's actually going to happen or not. But that is my current stance with the Ka rumors. I'm going to put it to bed now. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And we're going to go back into the chat to ask you guys to answer some of your questions. Before I do that, do any of you guys have any other topics you want to discuss before I go ahead?
Nope.
All right.
Slow week in the newsroom.
It has been a bit of a slower week. It's been a couple weeks since I did a live stream too. I don't remember the last time I did one. I think it was early October.
Wait, are we not going to talk about Epic Universe? That that literally just
yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
How did I forget? Wow.
Yes. How could I forget about Epic Universe?
Right.
So, actually, I think it's easier if I just go to the Epic Universe website and kind of work off of that. Obviously, for those of you unaware, Epic Universe tickets went on sale. They announced the opening date of the park, which is May 22nd, 2025. It is absolutely mind-blowing that this park we have been following for years now is actually opening. This is probably the most excited I've ever been for anything in the amusement industry, just because the fact that we're getting to witness a park for the first time ever, this is not something that happens very often. And I'm going to try to go in not knowing too much specifically about the rides, because again, this is a rare opportunity where you're going to get to go on things that have never existed before and nobody knows anything about the rides, which is so cool. To me, my most anticipated rides, I'm going to say probably Stardust Racers for starters, because it just looks like a phenomenal coaster. Oh, did I screw up? Maybe. Yeah, this is not what I wanted. Probably Stardust Racers in terms of like the coasters, and that's probably going to be the best coaster at the park. I don't think there's anything else that would really compete with it. It's this massive airtime filled mock coaster. I mean, the concept art looks great. The ride itself running looks incredible too. And it's going to have some sick lighting as well at night, where the whole ride is going to be pitch black except for the trains, and they're going to look like shooting stars going across the track, which I think looks awesome. Another ride that I'm probably the most excited for out of everything is Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment, which is the dark ride inside of Epic or Dark Universe, which is also definitely my most excited land. I think this one's going to blow people away because we've never seen anything like this. I mean, truly, there's nothing that can even compare to the scale of what this is in terms of like other stuff at Universal and other parks. I mean, the scale of this land in general is just, it's massive. There's so much to do in this land. I am also really excited for the Donkey Kong coaster, Minecart Madness. They didn't open the one in Japan yet, so I'm assuming they're going to open around the same time. So that's going to be really cool. But that's enough of my yammering. Tom, I don't know. Do you have plans to go down to Epic Universe next year?
I'll say that I do. If it does happen, I won't say it will be a surprise to me, but if the opportunity presents itself, I'll definitely be taking it, because I also am very excited for the Monsters universe because, like, it's pretty easy with things like Harry Potter or Mario to know exactly what it is you're building. Meanwhile, you have all these different Universal, like, classic monsters, and there's lots of room for creativity. So I am very excited to see everything fleshed out and how it all looks. And yeah, the minecart coaster looks cool too. Like there's something in every land to be excited about, whether or not you're a fan of the IP. And it's again, yeah, this has to be like the biggest scale thing that at least like people in our age range have seen like in their lifetime. So it should be pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Ace, how about you? When are you planning to go down to Epic?
Most likely around the fall when the crowds die down, because as you know, the summertime is pretty much the worst time, especially opening, to go to this park because this park is definitely going to be swamped, and I want to go when the crowds die down.
I agree. I think anyone going around when this park is opening, you're gonna probably struggle to get on a lot of rides if I had to guess. I mean, they have definitely designed this park to be a throughput machine, I'm sure. I mean, all these rides probably have crazy good capacity, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be insane crowds. That's for sure.
You're going to have a bad time.
I do plan on getting there at some point next year. I'm definitely not going to miss the opening year of something so monumental. But there's so much to talk about with this park. And I think the ticket prices, they weren't terrible. I think they were around like 120 to 150 a day. And that was for the pass holder ones. Because the way it works is if you're a pass holder, you got access to buy them for a certain amount of time, single day tickets only. But then if you're not a pass holder, you have to pay for a multi-day ticket, and then you get 1 day at Epic Universe, which I think is a pretty interesting strategy. They're trying to limit crowds as much as they can. That way, the people that do go actually have a good time, which I think is a good way to go about it. Chris, what are you excited for most about Epic Universe? Chris, are you there?
Oh, yes, I am there. Sorry, my Wi-Fi has been acting up. I don't know what's been happening. It's been like this for like
if you're on
weeks,
your Wi-Fi, you might want to just switch to your cellular data. It's that might wind up working better.
Yeah, I have unlimited data. So.
What are you most? Okay, what are you most excited for with Epic Universe?
Me?
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, I mean, I think it's good that they have a Nintendo Land and stuff. The pro is they got Nintendo Land, Dark World, and, you know, another Harry Potter land. But I think Universal doesn't need too many parks, you know, an extra park. Because sometimes you want to go to Disney, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and you can't go to too many parks.
I mean, that is true, but Orlando's a pretty big tourist destination. I mean, there's always something else people are looking to do. But I think we've spent enough time on Epic Universe. There's a lot to discuss here. I'm sure in a year from now, we'll all be discussing our experiences and what we thought of it, which is pretty cool. But now we're going to go scroll up to the top of the chat and start reading through your questions. So let's take a look, starting with this interesting one. If Kingda Ka does get removed, I hope they send it to Michigan's Adventure, Valley Fair, or Frontier City. If, big if, Kingda Ka does get removed, it is not going anywhere. It is going to the scrap pile. It's not going to get relocated.
I would be very interested to see the logistics of moving something like that.
It's probably cheaper to just buy a brand new coaster just like Kingda Ka than it is to relocate it, because there's a lot involved in doing that for a ride of this magnitude. What's better, Titan it over Texas or Goliath at Magic Mountain? I wish I could tell you, but Magic Mountain decided to have Goliath in one of the long list of rides that was closed when I was there. Although I would assume Titan, because Titan's just a slightly taller, slightly faster, slightly longer version of Goliath. So Titan seems like the clear answer there. Ace, I'm assuming you probably agree, considering you've been on both.
Well, both of them actually are like underwhelming for like a hyper coaster.
Well, I understand that, but in terms of just comparing the two of them to each other.
Yeah, the Titan is slightly taller. But however, what I like about the one Goliath and Magic Mountain is that it's right between Superman and Twisted Colossus, two great coasters. So that's like my tiebreak in regards to without of liking Goliath more. However, the Titan is pretty much like seemed like it's like in the parking lot and not too far from the a baseball field. So it's like, yeah, I take the Goliath.
Moving on. If it gets removed, I hope they make a better replica or reimagine it like Top Thrill 2.
Ooh.
So I originally thought that Ka would probably get the Top Thrill 2 style treatment. I'm definitely not in that camp anymore. And the reason for that, we have seen what has happened with Top Thrill 2 this year. Obviously, it was a bit of a mess. It only operated for, I believe it was 8 days before it closed. I was lucky enough to ride it, and I loved it. And honestly, I would not have been against seeing it, like seeing that treatment happen to Ka. Maybe not right away, because it was nice to have the two different experiences. Granted, that didn't last very long. But now that we know, that Zamperla, they're still trying to fix it. We don't even know for sure that it's going to reopen next year. That's the current plan, but we don't know. And I see people jumping in the chat right now saying, wait, Ka is gone confirmed. No, it is not confirmed. This is all hypothetical based on rumors that are still unfounded and really don't have definitive evidence. So Ka's not going anywhere as far as we know right now. Anyways, I don't think it's going to happen with Ka to Top Thrill 2 because Cedar Fair now owns Great Adventure because they are essentially the new Six Flags. And I highly doubt they want to go through what they went through with Top Thrill again with another ride. And I'm sure it wound up being a lot more expensive than they expected it to be because of all the issues it had. So if I had to guess, they definitely won't go with Zamperla if they were to do that to Ka. I don't see them going with Intamin either, given Cedar Fair's track record with Intamin. They've been staying away from them for a really long time. And I'd be surprised to see them bring them in for such a massive project like this. Pre-merger Six Flags did start working with Intamin again. They got Georgia Surfer and Quantum Accelerator. But again, we have to remember that the people running Six Flags now are not those people really. It's majority Cedar Fair. So I imagine that the people from Cedar Fair are going to keep doing what they do, and that is avoiding Intamin. Truly, with Ka, if they are to reimagine it, I don't even know what company would reimagine it, because if Zamperla is off the table, as well as Intamin is off the table, who does that really leave? I mean, Mach Vacoma, but like they don't really do that. So I don't know. And definitely not B&M. So honestly, if Ka does get removed, I really don't think it's going to get a reimagination, unfortunately, just thinking realistically. Now, if I wasn't thinking realistically, I would say you get rid of Green Lantern. I mean, I don't really like that, but if you get rid of Green Lantern, you extend Ka's layout into Green Lantern's plot and you can market it as a brand new ride. That would make sense to me, but I don't see that happen realistically. Moving on. Entertain me. 4 of the houses at New England were 10 minutes. The last one I'm waiting through is an hour. I hope you're entertained so far, Alex. It seems like you got a long ways to go. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Went to the park today to see if Flash was testing. It wasn't. You're probably not going to see Flash test again during public operating hours. I don't know why, honestly, it tested during public operating hours last weekend, but I was also there today. There was no sign of it testing. It was sitting in the station. But if I had to guess, they're probably doing all their tests when the park is not open because they probably don't want to run a ride that's not going to open this year while people are looking at it. It just kind of creates a weird thing inside the general public's mind. Like, wait, is that going to open now? So I think they're better off just not doing it. I'm glad I got my little bit of footage of it, but we'll have plenty of time to get footage and pictures of it next year, I guess. They should let Premiere remake King Ka. Wouldn't that be something? I don't think that will happen, though, after all of the stuff that happened with Chiller back in the day. Let's see. I have a feeling people are overreacting about the capacity for Flash. I agree. I don't think it'll be as bad as people expect. Remember, Chiller used to be at the park pretty much in that same spot, and yes, it had long lines, but they weren't completely unbearable. And Flash is basically going to have the same capacity as Chiller, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I was there yesterday. I saw Flash running, and I saw Ace riding El Toro. Well, maybe it did run yesterday then, because it didn't test today. But Ace was there yesterday.
Yep.
You don't have that original video up anymore. No, I do not have the very old Collywood videos up. They're gone now. Well, they're not gone. They're saved elsewhere, but they're not on this channel anymore, no. What would you want to replace King Dakar and Green? See, I appreciate the way you phrased the question because you didn't say that they are getting removed. You're saying if they get removed. So I appreciate that. See, what I would want versus what would probably happen are two very different things. The way I would go about it, I would keep Ka's top hat intact and make a coaster around that and have it have maybe the speed record or something. Just something to reuse the top hat. Because in my opinion, getting rid of the top hat would be a really stupid move because you're losing Zumanjaro on top of the fact that you're having to tear down that massive structure with those footers that you're probably never going to get fully out of the ground. So I think keeping the top hat structure would make a lot of sense. I don't think you need to use both the plot of Ka and Lantern for one coaster, though, realistically. I would love to see like a Vekoma tilt coaster on the boardwalk. I would also like to see the boardwalk completely redone. I'd love to see Superman bulldozed, but that's a whole nother discussion. But I think a Vekoma tilt coaster would work really good right against the parking lot like that because it'd have the same kind of presence as something like Scream Machine did back in the day when you have this massive imposing coaster that does something really unique right there when you're coming in. I think that's a really good look, and I would love to see a tilt coaster there. But in terms of like a car replacement, really couldn't tell you, honestly. All I know is that I hope it's not that stupid mock spinner that they were showing off in the surveys for Cedar Point, Magic Mountain, Kings Island Great Adventure.
You wouldn't replace King Dakar with a mock spinner?
Well, not the shuttle one. I think that one would be stupid, but we'll see.
Be a damn shame.
Moving on. I think King Dakar will get replaced with the B&M Giga. So my issue with that is I feel like, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this, I don't really think Great Adventure needs a B&M Giga. That's a big Nitro, essentially, is what it is. Nitro is a great ride as is. We don't need Nitro 2.0. I would rather see a Giga from a different manufacturer, like, say, Mach or Vekoma. Imagine, like, a 300-foot version of something like Hyperia. That would be sick. If King Dakar were to get removed and they replaced it with something like that, I'd be okay with that. That would be amazing. Because something like Hyperia would be very, very different than something like Fury or Orion or Leviathan. It would have a place in the park where it's not feeling too similar to another ride, which I think would be really, really good. They should have named it Pantherian 305. I agree. Honestly, it should have just been Panther 305 because Pantherian sounds way too similar to Pantheon. Even as I keep saying it, it sounds a little ridiculous. But I do agree that 305 should still be in the name. I-305 should get lap bars. I don't think that would end well. Those snap turns really are not designed for lap bars. And people saying that Skyrush has lap bars. Skyrush, its transitions are not as aggressive as I-305's. Let's see. Georgia Surfer recently began testing. That's good to hear. That sounds like both Georgia Surfer and Flash will be ready to go for opening day 2025, more than likely. Do you think? Okay, well, I'll address this. Fine. Do you think Great Adventure would try to replace King Dakar with another record breaker? See, the issue with that is they're not going to beat Falcon's Flight's record because those records are pretty much unshatterable by anything in the States at this point. Just the way the economy is, there's no way a park is going to dump that kind of money into a coaster that would beat the stats of Falcon's Flight just because it's not worth it at all. But if we're talking based on North America exclusively, maybe. King Dakar right now is the tallest and fastest operating coaster in the world because Formula Rosa is not operational, hasn't been almost all year. And obviously Falcon's Flight is not open yet. So King Dakar technically is still the tallest. If they were, maybe they'd go for speed. I feel like speed is easier to get to than height because height, you have so much extra foundation and steel, and obviously height you need to go up. Whereas with speed, you could have it launch up to say 150 miles an hour, and then right after the launch, have it slow down, just like Formula Rosa does. I could see that being a little more within the realm of reasoning. What do you guys think? I'm curious about what could go there. Say this did happen.
I think it would have to, like, especially at a park like Great Adventure, you got to retain that kind of shape that King Dakar has. Because I don't think you're just building like a straight up like standard lift hill to get to that record. Not on that terrain.
I definitely agree with that. What about you, Ace?
Wow. I'm just speechless. I would have to incorporate Green Lantern's land. Oh, there's so many options. Jeez. Maybe Giga really gets to me on that one, but maybe something with Vekoma or Premier Rights. That's the only thing I can think of right now.
Interesting options.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I think, since I've been, having my issues, and I think that I will probably be by the Emperor, a Green Lantern. So I might have like a layout too, maybe Green Lantern can have like certain tricks, and maybe a reefing too.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying to interpret what you were saying, but you were breaking up a lot. There's definitely a lot of routes you can go down with something like this. I mean, the amount of land there is huge, and I just hope that if this is the route they decide to go down, that they use the land properly and that they properly pay homage to, what was there. Again, I'm not confirming that it's happening, but this is all theoretical. Moving on. Let's see. I rode Green Lantern for the first time today, and it's definitely a good ride, but I don't really like how it makes my legs feel, though. So that's the thing. You want to try to. I understand it's a stand-up coaster, obviously, but if you can get yourself in a position where you're not putting the force on your legs and you're letting the force go to your rear and on the bicycle seat, you're going to enjoy the ride a lot more. And of course, the lower center of gravity you have, that also means the ride's not going to be as rough either. So it's a very difficult ride to learn. Well, I shouldn't say learn how to ride, but to find yourself in a comfortable position for. And when you do, you'll probably have a great time on it like I do. But I understand it's very difficult. That's kind of how it is with all the stand-up coasters, though. Let's see. Great Adventure should honestly have a coaster themed to the Teen Titans to replace Green Lantern if it gets removed. That's an interesting one. If I'm going to be honest, though, I could see New Six Flags trying to get away from the DC theming. I feel like being tied down to the IPs like that really doesn't work well from a longevity standpoint because you're tied to the contracts and all of that with Warner Brothers. And if one day, one party's not happy with the way another one is deciding to go about things and they cut it, that's a lot of money that Six Flags is then going to have to spend on retheming the attraction. So I think they're better off making new rides that don't tie themselves so heavily in with DC and their characters. I mean, obviously it's a little late for that now because you have something like Flash, but I'm saying going forward, I could definitely see them trying to stray away from that a little more. What is up, Antonio? When do you think Six Flags America will get its next coaster? I'll start with Ace. And what do you think it'll be?
I'm sorry, when do you think Six Flags America? I believe that Six Flags America get their next coaster probably by 2026. And I believe it'd probably be a Raptor, something that's not too expensive. I could see them getting something like that. Or they could probably what do they call that? They could probably pretty much replace Roar with an RMC treatment. That'd be feasible, and that'd be the best option.
Tom?
I'm gonna guess 2028, and if it goes over well at New England, I could see America also getting an Intamin family coaster. I think something like that would do well there. Bonus points if you don't have to remove anything to put it there, and they certainly have the room. I'm looking at that plot between Batwing and Superman. But I think something like that could do well there. But if it's not that, definitely RMC Roar because we are past overdue.
Why are there two Aces?
Oh, God.
Pardon me. I'm actually switching. Give me a second. I'm switching over to my computer. It's much easier.
Oh,
because
okay.
this has been hellacious to try to Oh man.
Because I saw two pop up and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I think the next coaster should be RMC Roar. I think that's the most logical thing. But we have to remember that Cedar Fair is in charge now. Cedar Fair has not built a coaster by RMC since 2018, which typically means that there's a reason for it. And there are plenty of good RMC candidates in the Cedar Fair chain. So it could be an intimate situation where they just don't want to work with them anymore, or maybe they're just waiting for the right time. I really hope, though, that Cedar Fair, now being Six Flags, becomes more willing to work with manufacturers that in the past as Cedar Fair they wouldn't, because there's a lot of potential with rides from like Intamin, RMC, Gerstlauer. Well, not really Gerstlauer for them, but manufacturers that they're not really willing to work with, that if they were willing to work with, give them a second shot, they can make some incredible attractions. I mean, there's a reason Universal keeps going back to Intamin. There's a reason Disney's now working with Intamin on a brand new coast, on their giant new Space Mountain overseas. I mean, the opportunities are endless with certain manufacturers, and I really wish they would take advantage of what they can do with them. Moving on, let's see. I wouldn't say the audio was a last minute thing. I'm sure it was planned and they just probably just didn't announce it, because these trains were made because we know that this ride came from another park. Like, it was planned for a different park. Six Flags was able to get it last second, probably on a discount, and then get it for Great Adventure. So the trains were definitely probably manufactured already along with the track and support. So it probably came with the onboard audio. I think Nitro should have more songs playing at its station. I think they should just keep it on the Mortal Kombat remix at all times, because that is the Nitro song as far as I'm concerned. But I think I could see it being cool if they switch it up a little. Honestly, I hope Nitro gets rethemed long term, not to a different name, but to a theme that makes more sense with where it is in the park, especially to tie in with the rest of the Pine Barrens area. I think that'd be really nice. I hope King Dakar closes, so there will be something better there. That's an interesting take. The way I look at it is there's so many other places in the park where they can put something better. So why get rid of something that so many people like if you don't have to? That's kind of the way I look at it. Moving on. I hope they keep the parachute tower for everyone to walk around, just like the one in Coney Island. That could be an interesting move. They could definitely use that as like a theming piece, which would be nice. Let's see. I would take Viper at Magic Mountain over Jersey Devil. I love Viper at Magic Mountain, but I cannot say it is better than Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil ran really good the last time I rode it. Like, it was one of the first times I could remember that like I actually got really good airtime throughout the whole thing. But I also love Viper. I don't know. I think they're too different to compare.
They're very different rides.
You see, Viper is pretty much the Great American Screen Machine at Great Adventure 2.0. And it ran its best when I first went to Magic Mountain in 2006. However, it's basically has gotten jankier. So it's definitely not the top in regards to being the best arrow like Tennessee Tornado and Loch Ness Monster. But of course, obviously, with the Jersey Devil running its greatest ever and its quickest, because Colin has shown that, and he could have you pretty much made a video of how fast Jersey Devil is back in 2022 compared to 2021, correct? Right? When you did the comparison,
it just keeps getting faster every year.
Oh, it's one of its fastest this year, and the potholes seem like they're not as pronounced, and it's just running so great. You got to get at least 2 rides. I have to get at least 2 rides, and every time I go now, gotta have Jersey Devil. So yeah, obviously I'll take the Devil over the Viper.
Favorite movie that has coasters / theme parks in it? Tom, you want to start? I got to think about this.
Can I count Zombieland?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, because if I can count Zombieland, this is a funny movie, and I'm going to stick with the comedy and also go with Vacation. It's because that movie, that style of humor does it for me. So, yeah, put Vacation in there too.
What about you, Ace?
National Lampoon I love the part in which you had the old Colossus
Mhm.
and the actors. I forgot who it was, but that person was like riding it. He wasn't even in the lap bar. He was damn near in the back of it as it
Mhm.
was going up and down because it was huge. It was like 125 feet to do Colossus, the
I see
original one.
people agreeing with us too. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I love the National Lampoon. It's just a great. It's the quintessential movie based on a theme park.
I'm trying to think.
I see Final Destination. That's also a good
Oh, that's right. That's the Viper. They had the Viper station, I believe, in it. Oh my God, it's kind of scared the crap to this day out of people. People said that they will not get on a roller coaster now because they saw
choice.
that
It's a Oh wait,
Final Destination 3.
someone dropped the Cat in the Hat, fourth wall. I
Yep.
take everything back.
Wow.
When I was little, I thought that movie was bad. Now I know it's bad and it's funny. So yes,
Wow.
love that movie.
Yeah.
Quote it way more than anyone
Oh
should.
man.
I'm trying to think
I'm back.
of movies I know that are set near like Coney Island because there tends to be a lot of that. Am I mistaken, or does Us have a coaster in the background? I feel like it might. Otherwise, I'll just say like, I guess Spider-Man: Homecoming because I know the Cyclone is in the background of the final fight with Vulture. I can't really
That feels a little
when
cheap.
I know I
Yeah.
genuinely actually.
little-
I know The Last of Us. I know it's not a movie. The Last of Us. There's the one scene where they drive past Worlds of Fun. And it's all like decayed and stuff. That I didn't remember.
They're in the. Mom, they're in the. I hung them. They're hung up on the door.
Oh, Chris, do you have
the other
a
two
favorite
are
movie that has
downstairs.
coasters or theme parks in it? Chris?
Wow, someone just said Santa Monica Pier, and that should jog your memory.
Yeah, it is at Us. Us is in Santa Monica.
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, sticking with the Halloween theme.
And someone else brought up. Oh wait, no, never mind. I read that wrong. Oh, Sharknado. That's right.
Yes.
I forgot about Sharknado.
What
Well,
a way to
Underfried
promote.
Rocket with I got to find that scene.
What a way to promote your business.
Really, it is.
It's so funny.
I got to find this clip. Hold on. Sharknado, Universal. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, I might get copyright claimed if I show it. It's probably not.
Yeah, I was gonna make that joke too. But,
Yeah.
you beat me to it.
Well, you guys can look it up on your own. You'll find it. That's actually a really good question. Thanks.
That
for
was a fun question.
Let's see. What was in the Northern Star Arena? It was an arena where they would host concerts and other events, mainly concerts. There's a lot of concerts.
I think it started out. It was like a Wild West and like a circus show, like in the like very early days of Great Adventure. I think. Who did I see? I think my mom saw Cheap Trick there in the 80s. Because I still have a Rick Nelson pick from that, which is pretty funny. She gave it to me. I saw a reggae concert for some reason in there in 2016, so that was pretty funny. But yeah,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, now it's empty. Be nice if they had chosen there again.
I just wish they would get rid of it already and put a good coaster there.
Yeah.
Moving on. What are everyone's thoughts of Sirens Curse? I think we covered this in a previous stream, but I think it's awesome. I would have much rather seen it at another park, but the ride itself looks great. I think it's an awesome looking layout, and it is going to fill in a nice empty spot in Cedar Point, which I think is good too. Tom?
Ditto. That's basically my thoughts on it.
Ace?
Everything y'all both said, I concur with. I'm ecstatic, to be able to ride the tilt coaster. I thought the only tilt coaster I was going to be able to ride was going to be in Codaland, but at least it's guaranteed I get to ride it even closer, 8 hours away in Cedar Point.
And actually, I'm going to throw in a question of my own because I just thought of this. If there is one thing you can go back and change in terms of coasters added to Great Adventure, what would you swap out? Like, say there's a coaster that was added that you disagree with having been added. You would have taken that time that coaster was added and put in a different coaster.
Oh.
Which one would it be? I know my answer.
My knee-jerk reaction is to say Superman, but what would you put in at that they were building at that time that A, Great Adventure didn't already have, and B, like was just like something that was made around that time?
Actually, I have two. I'll say both of them, and that might inspire you guys a little bit. For one, Chiller. I would have not built Chiller. I would have built the Mr. Freeze clone because it would probably still be here.
That's a good one.
And instead of Joker, I would have put in a B&M wing coaster along the lake because there were rumors of that happening before Joker was built. And it looks like Starlit took the words out of my mouth in the chat. Looks like we were thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I mean by the question. So what do you guys think it would be for you?
Well, Colin, you ain't going to believe this. And I'm sure you're not going to be flabbergasted about this. You took, actually, that would be my number two. My number one was Mr. Freeze. Numerous times I've told you and your dad that I've had buyer's remorse about the Chiller because Mr. Freeze is working perfectly at St. Louis and over Texas. So Mr. Freeze is my number one, and number two, obviously, is the wing coaster. Now, who wouldn't want a wing coaster? Because there's enough room when you look at it, to go wrap around and take out the restaurant that was once Chopsticks, go all the way down towards Lock Flume. There's a lot of land they could have used. And you could have even had an X-Flight. Am I right? X-Flight could have, Six Flags Great America's X-Flight could have fit in that plot of land. Would that be the area that we would have put our wing coaster? The BM?
I would think so. Around that time,
it would be beautiful. So yeah, my answers are the same.
So Tom, have you thought of anything?
I did, and this is a different one from the group, and I even have some like actual data behind it. So I was looking at the new coasters of 2008, and I'm like, gee, if you weren't just going to maintain the Movie Town water effect, which if you were going to keep that, it'd be something very valuable to the park even now. But what if instead of replacing Movie Town water effect with Dark Knight, you replace it with something like Fahrenheit at Hershey Park? It would be another Intamin in the park in a long string of, in what would have become a string of Intamins. But like, I think even though they're a smaller capacity coaster, it's just as good from a capacity standpoint, if not better. And then certainly it's a better ride experience than what Dark Knight is. Question is, it's like, is it another Batman themed thing? But like, even still, maybe that would be what I would do.
See, I love that idea, but I also know that it probably wouldn't have happened because Six Flags was like
financially done. Yeah,
they were struggling at that
in a
point.
world where the economy wasn't a mess at that point. Maybe.
I do like that idea though. That would be a nice spot for a ride like that, especially if they kept Chiller too.
Or if maybe you work with more of that land. If Chiller was gone, you work with some of that other land and find a way to keep the water effect operational, because I still think Great Adventure needs a third water ride.
They do. The fact that that's gone, that was a mistake in my opinion.
I love standing on that bridge.
Yeah, that bridge was cool. See, the problem is with the Chiller, Batman and Robin versus Mr. Freeze was that the land wasn't wide enough. That's why we didn't get Mr. Freeze. But when you look at it, the plot of land that Chiller used, it was just too small, and there was just no way that, unfortunately, that Mr. Freeze, the great Mr. Freeze, didn't fit there. It wouldn't have fit there. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to move back into the chat questions. Togo or Din? I have not actually ridden any Togos, so I guess Din by default. I don't really have any issues with Din. Their coasters are fine.
Yeah.
Likewise, I have yet to ride a Togo.
Is the old Shockwave at King's Dominion a Togo?
Yeah.
I voted. It was one of the worst coasters ever in 2010. That was the same year that then I-305 opened. So I got to ride it before they tore it out of the park. So yeah, I take Den. I like the wooden coasters. I forget Togo.
What would you say is your favorite stand-up coaster? Ooh. Well, I have not ridden the one that everyone considers the best, which is Riddler's Revenge, because Magic Mountain once again decided to have it closed. I used to think Georgia Scorcher, but honestly, I'd say Green Lantern. Truly, I really like Green Lantern.
I've come around on Lantern. I haven't ridden a stand-up that I hate, and I think, Colin, until you eventually, or until I guess both we eventually ride Georgia Surfer, or not, well, yes,
Riddler.
but no, yeah, and Riddler, and oh my God, why am I blanking on the name?
Vortex, Georgia Scorcher, Green Lantern, Riddler's Revenge.
No, I know the three. At Florida, Pipeline. Why did I blank
Pipeline.
on
There you go.
Pipeline?
That'll be my favorite for sure.
Probably,
Well,
yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't ridden one that I necessarily hate.
Chris, what about you? What's your
I
favorite stand-up?
rode the Mantis at Green Lantern, but I've also ridden Mantis at Cedar Point before it was converted into Rougarou. But I still think they should have kept the Mantis.
I was able to ride Apocalypse before it became Firebird, and I strongly preferred Apocalypse to Firebird for whatever reason.
Yeah, but Mantis had more inversions, so you know, too. And,
Well, Mantis
I mean,
is the same ride
Apocalypse
as Rougarou, just with a different train.
Yeah, the first ever B&M coaster.
Yep. Well, no, that's Apocalypse. Ace?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's an easy one. It used to be the Riddler's Revenge until obviously the Pipeline surf coaster opened up in SeaWorld Orlando. So yeah, that one is good. Get pops of air, great pops of air time. You know, the layout is conducive to airtime.
The New York Comic-Con panel was pretty good for Epic Universe. I didn't actually know they did that. That's cool though. What did they have? If you want to send it in the chat, I'll take a look once you send it. I'm curious. My family purchased tickets for next year on June 2nd. So excited for Dark Universe, Nintendo World, Stardust Racers. That's awesome. I don't know if I'm going to get there that early on in its life, but have fun and be prepared to wait in a lot of lines. But you're going to get to experience something that a lot of people don't get to experience, which is like basically going for the opening of a brand new theme park, which is so cool.
I have a question about that. June 2nd. Is that Memorial Day week?
That might be. See, but the thing is that they're capping attendance to presumably the same amount each day. So I don't think it'll really make a difference because tickets sell out.
Okay. Because I went to, they made the fatalistic mistake, and I went to Disney. Oh, hell broke loose that Wednesday right after Memorial Day. Never again. Oh my God, the tickets prices were so high, and there were so many crowds. So yeah, at least you don't got to worry about that problem because they have a fixed amount of people that can attend it. That's what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's good. That makes a lot of sense.
It's going to be very crowded.
What was that?
It's going to be very crowded. You know, like crazy.
Sure.
And the price of the tickets are going to go up. They're going to probably be like over $100 a day.
They already are. They're starting at like 120 a day.
Then they're going to raise it to 200.
I don't know about 200 for a day. I don't think Universal would do that.
No, Disney would. Disney would. I don't know about Disney's going to rake in anything they can. Trust me. I could attest to that.
Moving on. Which defunct manufacturer do you guys hate more, Togo or RCCA? I'm going to say RCCA because of just how terrible of a job they did with Son of Beast.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think Togo's had that abysmal failure. Other than Windjammer Surf Racers at Knott's. That was a pretty rough one, but not as severe as Son of Beast, which literally hurt people.
I don't know any of those manufacturers.
Yeah, they're from quite a while ago.
Yep.
Let's see. Moving on. We already talked about the B&M Giga. If you get to travel to any park in the world that you haven't been to yet, what park would it be? That's a tough question. See, I feel like a lot of the parks outside of America, they'll have like their one or two coasters that are like, I need to go ride that. And then everything else is like way lower. Like I would say Europa because Voltron looks incredible and there's a bunch of really good rides there. But they don't have, it's not like a collection like Cedar Point or Hershey where so many standouts. I'd probably say it's between Europa, Fantasialand, and then either Fuji Q or Nagashima. If I had to say, that's a tough pick, though. That's a really tough pick.
Give me Energylandia. Why not?
Thing I have with Energylandia, it kind of ties in with what I was saying about how the parks will have like their couple of standouts and then a giant drop off. Energylandia, you got Zadra, Hyperion, Abyssus, and then the other Vekoma, and then it's like a steep drop from there. They have like multiple SPF spinners or something too. It's ridiculous.
True.
But the standouts there look incredible.
Yeah, of course. And Tom took my answer. Obviously, the big one in the Energylandia, that's a slam dunk.
Chris, what about you?
I think I'd like to go to, sorry about that. I think I'd like to go to Alton Towers because of the 4 B&Ms. Oh wait, there's 3 B&Ms, and they have the Smiler and the Freeze landscaping.
Yep,
and
Tom
Nemesis
knows.
looks cool.
Yes, Alton looks like a great park. Thank you, Lil Beast Boy Jr. for the super chat, and thank you, Tom, for the horn.
You're welcome.
Colin, how's your day going? I just wanted to say to Tom, let's go Devils, baby. 4-1 over the Ducks right now.
Yeah, my sports teams are in shambles right now, but at
Oh,
least
God.
the Devils, please, God, hold on. I've been watching the game. If you've noticed the random fist pumps, they've been perfectly timed with when the Devils have scored a goal. Please, for the love of Christ, beat the Anaheim Ducks. If ever there was a team to beat, it's the Ducks.
There's Tom's little hockey rant for the night. Thanks again, Lil Beast Boy Jr. And as usual, if you send a super chat, I will jump immediately to it in the chat and then go back up to where we were. Where we were is right here. I am new to roller coasters. What is airtime and how do I know when I'm feeling it? So the definition of airtime from a physics or design standpoint is when you're feeling less than 0 G of force, meaning you're feeling negative, positive G force. It is when you are literally feeling lifted out of your seat. So there's a couple different types of airtime. There's floater airtime, where it's a little bit more gradual and you slowly kind of float up out of your seat. Whereas you have ejector airtime, which is the total opposite, where you're aggressively thrown up out of your seat. If you're a great adventure visitor, the best examples I could give, Toro, basically all ejector airtime, especially the drop, those airtime hills, Rolling Thunder Hill. Nitro is much more so floater airtime, but Nitro kind of veers a little more on what I call flagector airtime, where it's floater, but it's really strong floater, where it throws you out of your seat, but a little more gradually. But you'll feel it. For starters, if your restraint's a little loose, you will rise up and hit the restraint. That is one way. Another way is you'll literally just feel it inside your body. Some people say they get butterflies in their stomach. I don't really get that, but that is definitely a sensation you can feel. But as soon as you, like, if you put your hands like this, and if the coaster forces make it lift up naturally, that is 100% airtime right there. I think that's probably the best way I can explain it.
Would you say that the Goliath has a variant of both?
You realize there's like 10 Goliaths, right?
The Goliath and over Georgia, to be specific.
Oh yeah, Goliath is mostly ejector, honestly.
Wow, so that has the almost like intimate ejector,
like flagector, I'd say more. Flagector,
yeah, that's a good way to put it, like a hybrid of both.
It's not Toro or RMC ejector, but it's strong.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Opening day at Epic is going to be an absolute nightmare with crowds. Oh, for sure, it's going to be brutal. Are there any updates with the Northern Star Arena or the plotting / surveying going on near that area? So I remember earlier in the season, I was over by Log Flume and I saw a bunch of trees that were marked off. Supposedly that was just trees that had to be removed because they're dead. Supposedly. As far as I know, it's kind of on the back burner right now, the replacement for the arena, while whatever else goes on. Hopefully we will eventually get that replacement. I think that's something that really needs to happen soon because that area of the park could definitely use some life. There's a lot of areas of the park that could use some life, but I think that one much more so. And Tom, I'm guessing they just scored?
They sure did, and I got fantasy points for it.
There you go. Yeah, I really think an intimate blitz there would be the best thing. What was that, Chris?
B&M dive coaster, maybe.
I feel
Maybe
like
a
a B&M
B&M
dive
dive.
is something we'd want more so in the front of the park. And honestly, I just don't think a dive is really what Great Adventure needs. I think they need a
No.
blitz. They need a strong multi-launch. They need just bigger, like they need a family coaster as well. But in terms of thrill coasters, I think a blitz is by far the best option for them. Moving on. I think Curse of the Werewolf will be the best coaster at Epic. That's an interesting take. The thing I have with that one is that it's just too short. Yes, it has the swing launch in the middle, but that's because it's a really, really short amount of track that it has. I think Stardust is probably going to blow everything out of the water there from a thrill standpoint just because it looks so good.
Oh, you know what I wanted to mention?
What's
What
that?
is it called? The new Big Bad Wolf? That's an excellent
we
name.
didn't
How did we
talk
not
about
mention the new? Big
That's what
Bad
I want.
Wolf?
That's what I have to mention. Yeah, that's a beautiful name. What's the name
Is
of
it?
it?
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
Big
called
Bad Wolf
the
by
Big Bad
B&M.
Wolf, the Wolf's Revenge, is it?
Yes, the Big Bad Wolf
Yes.
Revenge.
I hate that name so much. Like, I
It's
can't
a
even put into
pretty
words how much
bad
I hate that
name.
name. The
What
reason
in the AI generated garbage?
The reason I hate the name so much is because we already got our Big Bad Wolf replacement. That was Verbolten. It was very
Yeah.
obvious that's what it was. This is its own thing. This is not going to live up to what Big Bad Wolf was. It's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as intense. It'll be fun, but it's not the Big Bad Wolf.
And now,
And
because
I
you
didn't-
name it that, you
And
are
now because you
forever
name it that-
locked into that comparison.
Yes, exactly. And that makes me so mad.
And it's not a fair
because-
comparison.
No, it's not at all. And now this ride is going to be kind of put up to these unreachable expectations by not us, because obviously we know it's not going to be as good, but say the general public who maybe have rode the original Big Bad Wolf back in the day, and they're like, "Oh, there's a new one now. Let's go." And they're like, "It was okay." Believe me, I'm sure the ride will be good, but I think they should have called it something else. You could have kept Wolf in the name. Honestly, Wolf's Revenge would have been fine, but this, I don't like this name. It's a mouthful.
They
Anyways,
had
though,
Wolf Storm and Cavern-
Wolfstrom,
Wolf Rain
yeah,
until
that was all right. I still think building a B&M invert family coaster there is stupid, and it should have been an RMC hybrid themed to Drachenfire, but whatever. Doesn't always go our way, I guess.
It mostly
Moving on.
doesn't.
They should give Green Lantern to Michigan's Adventure converted to a floorless. I agree. The only issue I have with that is that Green Lantern's so old at this point. It opened back in the 90s at Kentucky Kingdom, so it's getting up there, plus the fact that it's already been relocated once. I just don't really see
Would it
that.
survive another?
I don't see it surviving another trip across the country.
No. Because when you look at it, look at what happened with the Hulk. Didn't Islands of Adventure open in 98? It didn't
99.
even last. For Christ's sake, it didn't even last for 18 years. Excuse me. And they already retracted in 2016. Shy of 2 years shy of 20 years.
Yeah,
No way.
very true.
Yeah, but the Green Lantern is done after it closes. When it closes that Great Adventure, if it does.
Tom,
Oh, we do have another.
thank you again, Will Beast Boy Jr. for the second super chat. Colin, how do you feel about Flash and it's Nico Heischer's baby? Huh?
Oh no, the second half references goal scorer and captain of the New Jersey Devils, Nico Heischer, our Lord and Savior. Completely separate from the Flash, but just as good, potentially.
I'm really
better.
excited for Flash. The excitement has definitely died quite a bit ever since it got delayed and everything. But I do think it's going to be a really good ride. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it. I've already talked about it so much with the updates and everything, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to surprise a lot of people, in my opinion. Moving on. The list of monsters in Dark Universe is a lot larger than you might think. Also, Monsters Unchained will be pretty much all animatronics, which is so. And I know it's using the same ride system as Forbidden Journey, which is definitely my favorite dark ride I've ever been on. That's the one in Islands. And to know that they're going to use the same ride system and have an even cooler theme, in my opinion, with tons of animatronics, it's going to be super long. That is why Monsters Unchained sounds like one of the best rides ever to me. It's so obvious he knows about Ka. What is that supposed to mean? I know what the rumors are. I mean, what else do you want me to say? Nothing's confirmed yet. The park hasn't announced anything. There's no bulldozer on site. There's no markers anywhere. I mean, there's not really much else to say. I know what people are saying. How could I not know? Everyone's on the internet. We all see it. I think they should replace them with an Intamin Mega Coaster similar to Hyperion. It's funny because if you guys have seen, I'm pretty sure I made a video about this already. Back when King Dakar was first being built, they had the choice to get either King Dakar or a 300-foot Giga version of Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England, just a massive mega coaster. And they went with Ka, obviously. But we almost got basically that, which I think is pretty fascinating. A lot of people really want a Giga where Green Lantern and King Dakar stand. I don't know. I'm not. If it's a B&M Giga, I'm against it, personally.
Give me a Giovanola Giga. That can happen.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Do you guys think Epic Universe will be the best park in America? I think it's a little early to call it that. They still have so much room for expansion as well. So this is just like the bare bones version of Epic. But I think it will definitely be the most cohesive, most well-done overall park in the country, and it won't even be close. Because this is being built from the ground up by a team who has so much attention to detail. They care about theming, about rides. This is Universal at its peak right now. We're talking about the people who have designed Velocicoaster, Hagrid's, all of the absolute bangers that have come from Universal recently. All of that is going into Epic Universe, which is super exciting. Thank you for Jamie DeWolf for the super chat. Would you bring back the What If series? The What If series is an off-season series. We're not too far away from the off-season, so it'll come back. Don't worry. I just got to think of some more what ifs. But it will happen more than likely.
Have you done a what if we got the Mr. Freeze?
I have not, but that would actually be a really good one.
That might be a fun
one. Where were we? We were there. Talk about that. Okay. Again, I'm not answering that about Ka. Let's see. Any idea what's going on with Steel Curtain at Kennywood? I don't know anything. I just know that they're replacing some supports.
It was closed for the rest of the 2024
yes,
season.
We know that. They're, like I said, they're replacing some of the supports. I imagine they may be replacing track. They're doing a massive refurbishment to it because clearly there was something off with it that they needed to fix. I don't really know exactly what. Next year on opening day, Flash opens. You're going to run to Toro or Flash? Well, Flash, of course. I mean, it's not a very far run. It's literally right there.
Brisk jog.
Yeah, you don't need to run. I don't think you're really going to need that. As long as you're in the first batch of people going into the park, you'll be fine. Removing Ka means bye-bye Zumanjaro. If true, yes, that would mean Zumanjaro would probably be done too if they're getting rid of the tower. You talk about the Ka original queue and would you like to see it in use? Well, the original queue for King of Ka, there was a tunnel under the launch track, which I actually have been in because back when riding in the bull was still a thing, we got to do the tours. Oh boy. Hold on, everyone. Hold on. I see him smiling. We have a special guest joining us right now. Are you guys ready for this?
Yep.
I know he's ready.
Oh, no.
Welcome, Sammy.
Hey, guys.
Right from the dorm, it looks like. Welcome to the stream.
Or prison. This is his one call.
Maybe a little bit of both.
This is his call.
Yeah, the dorms can tend to feel a little bit like prison. Sammy, we'll pause for a second and introduce Sammy. Sammy was just at Dorney. How was it?
Yeah, you want to see what I got actually before I get into anything?
I would
Did
love
you buy
to
the
see
Talon
that.
lamp? Did you buy the?
Oh,
okay,
that
I was
of course
close.
I did.
Not the lamp, but it was close. That's a piece of the ratchet.
Very
We
nice.
got number, what is it?
234
234 to 240.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yep. Iron Menace was down for like a majority of the day though.
Oh, jeez, that sucks.
May or may not have gotten the last ride for the season on it.
Huh.
Don't know if it reopened. It was down for 2 hours and hadn't reopened by the time I left. They sent one cycle. I was on it, and then we got stuck in the brakes.
Jeez.
Yeah, and we did that earlier in the day too. It was not having a good day.
Well, you made it. You got on.
Right on.
What's up, Chris?
And
You're right on.
and also,
Yeah.
No, Ace, Chris was
What's
talking.
up, Chris?
He's right on.
Oh yeah, I got on it a couple times, thankfully. But yeah, it was down a majority of the day.
Oh, Letty, what were you gonna say, Ace?
I was gonna say that not only that's been having problems because when I went with Colin's dad and Ken, the elevator wasn't working either. The elevator that goes up and down for the ADA. I noticed that too.
Oh
So
really?
it's been having some problems throughout the thing. Yeah.
Well, I highly doubt the elevator is tied to whatever issues might be going on with the ride itself.
I
Yeah.
mean, if it's an
just that
electrical issue,
area.
then
No, that could be true. Bless you. But anyways,
you.
we'll get back to the questions now. We were talking about Ka, its original queue. So yeah, I've been in the tunnel before. It goes underneath the launch track, and then from there was a whole set of switchbacks and everything in between, kind of like how Dragster was, in between the brakes and the launch track. There was an observation area as well, right next to the launch, kind of like how Dragster had it. But then there was a moment, I believe like mid 2005, where the cable snapped. No one was on the train, but the cable snapped. And after that happened, they were not able to use the original queue anymore. They had to go back to just using the queue on the one side that doesn't go over under the launch track. So that was the end of that, unfortunately. It's never going to be in use again, that's for sure. I would love to see dual stations come back, but I really don't see that happening at this point.
Yeah, they're not gonna go through like pretty much caging it up, like no, you have to be in a cage. That's not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah.
What is your top bucket list coaster you want to ride that is currently operating? That's a great question. There's a couple. I can't really pick
Velocicoaster
one.
for me.
It's definitely nothing in the States anymore for me because I feel like I've pretty much done all like the really good coasters in the States. Voltron is up there. Ride to Happiness is up there. Zadra, Fly, Ejinika, Hakuge. There's a lot.
Wow.
You know what else I could go for? What ride am I? What's the Batman ride?
Oh, Gotham City.
Gotham City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Pantheon, similar to Pantheon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me that one.
Wow.
There's another coaster I was thinking of. It just slipped. Oh, Let Coaster. Let Coaster looks insane.
I'd love to do the DC Rivals backwards car.
Yeah, that looks nuts. Hyperia as well looks insane.
Yeah.
Wow. We got similar bucket list coasters. Definitely Zadra, Hakuge, Echinika, Red Force, and then when it opens up, Falcon's Flight.
Yeah, Falcon's Flight. Iron Rattler as well down
Did
there.
I say Expedition G? Because I said that already. Then you also have the Batman the Batman, of course. What is that? The Batman, whatever they call it.
Gotham City Escape.
Gotham City Escape, definitely.
There's a lot of great coasters out there.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get on them.
Yep. I was gonna say mine is. Sorry if I don't know. At his turn.
We cannot hear you.
You know, because I was gonna say Fury 325 all the.
Oh, we lost Chris. All right. I heard him say Fury, so there's one. Moving on. How long do you think the line will be when Flash opens? 3+ hours more or less? I don't think it'll be over 3 hours. I think that's probably a bit much. I'd say 2 to 3, something like that, maybe. It depends on the capacity.
Okay, well, think about Jersey Devils line, right? Because you're expecting a lot of the season pass holders to do it. So take that into consideration. Also take the fact that if so, Green Lantern and Cobb may not be there. All those people are now going to be at Flash as well.
That is true. If Ka's not there,
it's a big if.
We'll have to see. I mean, judging a line too is very difficult because when you say a set time, that doesn't include breakdowns because breakdowns can obviously inflate it by a lot. And we don't know how reliable these Tacomas are. We haven't seen them in the States yet. So it's going to be a giant guessing game at this point. Do you think they will sell pieces of Contract when it is eventually retired? Knowing Cedar Fair, yes. They've done it with Wicked Twister, Vortex. They did it with the Maverick Heartline roll. They'll do it with anything they can, honestly.
And no, your membership discount will not work unless you happen to catch the line at the right time.
Wait, is gone confirmed? No, it is not confirmed.
No.
You see Medusa closing? Not really. I think it'll just kind of hang out in the back of the park. What's the best being on floorless? For me, it's either Kraken or Superman Krypton coaster.
Wow.
Or Dominator. Or Medusa West.
Yes.
There's a bunch.
I really like
Kraken's
Medusa
my
West.
number one favorite.
Your number one coaster of all time? What was that, Chris? All right, we'll move on to the next question. I don't think you can hear me.
My favorite. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Okay.
Kraken. Sammy, what about you?
The best being on floor. I'm not a big floorless fan, but I guess it would. Did ride Hydra, so it was pretty good. I'll give it to Hydra. I just wrote it today, fresh off the mind.
Hydra does exist.
Yeah, mine obviously. I've told you a million times, Colin. The Superman escape from Krypton at Fiesta, Texas, the Quarry War.
On coaster,
that's the part that really gets me. It's just
it's a great
one. It's the fastest and longest.
Especially now that I've climbed Superman Krypton coaster, it makes me like it a little more.
Yeah, I can't wait to get up there next year.
It's so fun to show the pictures to like non-coaster people of us sticking our heads through the track joints and all that, and they're like, "Oh my god, how'd you do that? Did you get hit?" It's like, no, I didn't.
Moving on. If Ka leaves, add a lift hill strata or 2 gigas. Well, I don't see why we would need 2 gigas. And I have a feeling a lift hill strata could be a maintenance nightmare depending on who makes it. So we'll see. Oh god. Remove Green Lantern and Ka, add a lift hill strata and a 500-foot drop tower. Where do you think the money is coming from for all that? That sounds like some Six Flags Quadia level stuff. I would love to see it, but turns out I did get that elusive rollback after all, at least for 2024. This is in reference to that Top Thrill 2 video of mine that blew up where he says we finally got that elusive rollback. A lot of people gave him hate for it, but at the end of the day, we were some of the only ones to ride Top Thrill 2. So
did you ride it?
Is Nitro still in the works of getting a repaint in the future? I hope so. It definitely needs it. They started with the trains and the station, but then they didn't go all the way. So I'm hoping it does happen.
Needs a repaint.
Yes, it definitely needs a repaint. I hope I get a rollback. I hope you do too. I hope everyone gets a rollback before whatever happens to it, whenever that may be. Because a true rollback, like having ridden Top Thrill 2 and in the same year as getting a double rollback on King Ka, I can say for sure that the double rollback on King Ka absolutely annihilates the rollback on Top Thrill 2. It is truly like nothing else. Let's see. I was at the park for Collywood's rollback. Too bad you didn't get a video of it. There's not many videos of it, unfortunately.
Are there any videos of it?
There's 1 or 2, I think. Well, there were 2 rollbacks, so there was plenty of opportunity. Do you see any flat rides closing at Great Adventure? Twister, I can see being done very soon. It was heavily rumored to be done last year, and it wasn't, which kind of surprised me. But if I had to guess, whenever Lantern goes, they're probably going to do the trifecta and get rid of Lantern, Parachutes, and Twister, because then that opens a really big plot of land right there for a replacement. And Twister, it's made some interesting noises this year. It's a fun ride. I think it's one of the best flat rides in the park, but I don't really see it being around much longer. Cyborg's been closed all year, and honestly, it does not look like it's opening again anytime soon. That would be one I'd put money on. It's probably done. And then whatever happens with Ka, Zumanjaro is attached to it. So take that as
I
you
like
will as well.
sideboard.
An honorary mention to Houdini because I know it's open now, but
You never.
it's not unlike it to have a major mechanical issue that takes it down for the season every now and again.
That is true. What if they get a mock hyper like Hyperia? I mentioned this earlier as a Giga. I think if they really wanted to go that route, they should do a Giga like Hyperia. That would be amazing. How busy will the park be on Halloween night? Also, I'm the kid that rode King Ka with Ace, Phil, Zach, and Darius. Ace, do you remember?
Oh yeah.
How crowded will the park be on Halloween night?
It's gonna be warm on Halloween.
It will be
At least
warm
near
on
where I
Halloween.
live.
It'd probably be decently crowded if I had to guess. I don't think it'll be slammed per se because actually, a lot of schools do get off for Halloween nowadays, so you never know.
Ugh, these kids have it so easy.
I know. I wish I got Halloween off back in my day.
Oh my God. You think get kids are off enough. Halloween too? Jesus.
Moving on. Boardwalk, in my opinion, is the most outdated area in the park. Absolutely.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
desperately needs to be replaced, in my opinion, big time. Almost every aspect of it. Truly, from, I guess, Garden State
disagree.
Grill on, I would not be opposed if they leveled it all.
When
I like
when
Green
you-
Lantern, but I don't like the fact that there's a DC-themed coaster out there.
when you look at it, especially in the middle of it, it is an eyesore. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm tired. I'm done. Yeah, but you made a video about it before, a while ago, about what can you do with the park to improve it. The boardwalk is number one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the best
I agree.
section of the park.
Yeah,
I like the chicken. Totally kicking chicken.
they should remove Green Lantern and Superman and make a mock hyper or extreme spinner. Now, again, we already talked about the mock hyper or Giga. If they were to do an extreme spinner, I really hope it's not that stupid shuttle coaster. The thing looks so dumb. The one that it launches, has the stall, then launches again, goes up a tower, and comes back. They had that in a survey for most of the big Cedar Fair parks, and then they did it for the big Six Flags parks as well. I really hope that does not happen. I just think it's a waste of the extreme spinner concept. Do you think Great Adventure could get a mock power splash like Aquaman? I wouldn't be against it. I love
I think
Aquaman.
they could use it.
Great.
Aquaman was great.
As
Yeah,
long as there's a turntable, I'm all for
Aquaman
it.
is. Yeah.
Where do you put it is the question.
Yeah.
Next to Cop.
Either next to Ka or honestly, I really wish they weren't putting that. And I don't know, all the environmental
Flash.
people can go after me, but yeah, if they weren't doing that garden, that is prime space for something like that potentially. If you place it the right way on that plot.
Yeah, you could position it to kind of run behind Justice League and Dark Knight and pop out by Gotham and then go over by Flash.
Right, or you put a nice flat ride package in there themed to DC. There's your DC Super Friends area or whatever. But
There you go. And then if they ever decide to finally retheme Joker, Harley Quinn, Green Lantern, and Superman to something else, you could put all of those themes into rides there and just have one contained DC universe.
There you
Well,
go.
I think Joker and Harley are fine because it looks like the heroes have pushed the villains out of Gotham and Metropolis. So I think that almost works.
I think it's still incohesive.
I think you're reaching there. No,
Yeah.
It could be worse.
no, I see it.
I wish it was Total Mayhem and Blackbeards. What happened to the RIP Lounge? If you're talking about the one next to Stranger Things, I don't know. It hasn't been open in a while. The RIP Lounge next to Skull is only for those with RIP tours. But the bar next to Stranger Things, I haven't seen it open in quite a few visits for whatever reason.
Last I was in there was September 1st, I think, because that was one of the few times I visited, and it was still the retro bar at that point.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you see another B&M Surf Coaster? I do, eventually. I don't know where or when, but I think, honestly, I would love to see one at Great Adventure. I think that'd be sick. Especially if Lantern
I
eventually
want one.
goes. What's that?
Yeah, replace it with Lantern.
You could
I
do
mean,
that.
replace
Although
Lantern
people
with the
still have
surf
the
coaster.
stigma of not liking a
Yeah.
stand-up
Yeah.
coaster from Lantern. Moving on. Yes, I mentioned this earlier that my best option would be to just expand the layout of Ka into Lantern's plot. Even though I love Lantern, I could see that. But, well, I could see that in my vision, but I don't think in reality that would happen. There's a 400-foot mock extreme spinner shuttle that could be added, but capacity would be atrocious. I talked about this thing a few times. I think it's a stupid, stupid concept. I really hope it doesn't get built. Mock extreme spinners can be so much more, and to waste a spinning coaster on a ride that only turns once, that makes no sense to me. Let's see. What if they got something like Cedar Point and put a roller coaster going over the entrance? So we all thought Flash was going to be that, but it wasn't. And now that Flash is there, that kind of made it almost impossible
cool
for them to do that now. Unless you go over Flash into the new Arboretum, then come back and go cross over, it really wouldn't work, unfortunately. I love Green Lantern. I don't know why it gets all the hate. Definitely top 5 in the park for me. I agree with everything you said. It's number 5 in the park for me. Will King Ka be open during holiday in the park? It's not confirmed yet, but it might. We never know. When it is confirmed, I'll let you guys know. Moving on. Six Flags America needs RMC Roar desperately.
I'm going to get ready for bed. I do have some work tomorrow.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for joining the stream. Hope you had fun. Sorry you had your Wi-Fi issues, but if you want to plug your channel one last time, go for it. You there, Chris?
Yep. I'll see you guys in the next adventure.
All right. Have a good night, Chris. Moving on. Double the ace, double the... Oh, that's when there's 2 aces on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God, I can only imagine.
Yes, there were 2 aces, and I got very scared. Let's see. If the new Six Flags Entertainment Corporation decides to close a park, which park do you think would close, and what coasters would you like to see? Oh, boy, that's a very big question. I hate to say it, but I could see Six Flags America. Honestly, it's not very highly attended usually.
No, I went. When did I go? 2 weeks ago, I think I was there, and it was a Saturday. During, to be fair, I had to leave before any of the Fright Fest stuff happened, so I can't speak to like how good the mazes are or anything. But like, it was not crowded, and it was a beautiful day for it too. Which it's sad, but yes, the crowds are certainly not there right now.
In terms of what would be relocated, I can't do all that thinking right now. I don't even know where you could put Superman because it's such a weird layout. Joker's
Raging Cajun would probably go somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think Joker's Jinx would go anywhere.
It probably would just be done.
Yeah, it's pretty almost 30 years old now. It's pretty
I
old.
think a lot of those coasters would probably be done
because a lot of them are maintenance nightmares to a point.
Batwing. Oh my gosh, Batwing. I think Batwing went down like 2 or 3 times while I was there in like the very short time I was.
The fact
I'm
that
very thankful to have ridden all 3 Flying Dutchmen. I know that's not something many people have done, but I have done it. I'm very glad.
The fact that Batwing still exists is a miracle.
It really is.
It is. It is. Let me tell you, it was a Fright Fest style ride for me, not because like there's scare actors, but it's infested with bees. And as a bee allergy sufferer, it was a pretty scary experience. But I think I still rode it like 5 or 6 times.
Maybe if we get rid of Green Lantern, we could throw them a bone.
Yeah, there you go. If Great Adventure got a quantum accelerator clone in the space where the arena is, what do you think it would be themed to? I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't want a clone, and I definitely don't want a family coaster in that spot. There's better spots for family coasters throughout the park, but it would obviously be Western themed for sure.
What if we took Quantum Accelerator, put it where Skull Mountain is, and then made it indoors, and it could be Escape from Skull Mountain?
That would be sick.
Escape from. You've heard of Escape from Witch Mountain?
Yeah, but escape
Skull Mountain.
Escape from Skull Mountain, and then you go out the back and then onto the water.
That would be a fun concept, though.
That's like Dark Coaster expanded. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so you
That'd be
kind of
better
use like the
than-
same facility, and then you can make like whatever the chopsticks was over there. You can make that the entrance and like have it be like an adventure outpost, and then you go into the mountain. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be sick. Actually, I just rode Skull Mountain today because I haven't ridden it in a while.
Wow,
They
and I
turned
wasn't
off
there.
the rave music, but now it just feels really empty and kind of dull in there, honestly. Like, it needs more. Anyways, though, any progress on Hellcat at Clementon Lake Park? Or isn't it just called Clementon Park? Yeah.
Yes.
I have no idea. I haven't been down. Oh, super chat.
Oh, here, hold on. I'm playing a game.
I got it.
There you go.
Thank you, Brian, for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Hello. I hope you're doing well, Brian. Long time no see. Let's see. Where was I? I was right there. I don't know what the current status is with Hellcat. Last I heard, they were retracking it, but I don't know anything more than that. Jersey Devil is kind of rough. I mean, that's just kind of how the Raptors are, but I get it.
Not really. I rode Wonder Woman. It was class.
Yeah, because they just redid it.
They just redid it.
I mean, you literally wrote it right after it reopened.
Yeah.
But I've been on
Devil
every Raptor except for Stunt Pilot, and they all have the jolts.
You know what? The Stunt Pilot was the smoothest out of all of them. Of all the Raptors I've done.
Tom, thank you again, Brian. You don't have to keep sending super chats. I appreciate it though. When are we going to get rain again? That is a great question.
Never.
I couldn't tell you. Hopefully soon. Let's see, where was I? I was past that. I'll skip that for now. Viper is so underrated. One of the most underrated coasters from Aero. I strongly agree. Viper's a top
Agreed.
Aero in my
Love
opinion.
Viper.
Yeah,
It's
you know what? Viper might have been better than Scream Machine. Now that I look at it, it is better than Scream Machine. Just see where it's at in the park
I'm not
compared to where it was a Great Adventure. You said what?
I'm not surprised. It looks.
Oh yeah, it was better than Scream Machine.
Moving on. What 2025 coaster are you most excited to ride? Well, I would say Flash, but like it's not going to be the best new for 2025. But I'm excited to finally get on it. If I had to say like the best one, I'm going to keep it state specific because there's too much to include because 2025 is a huge year for coasters. Oh, not states, North America.
Starfall.
It might be Alpen Fury.
Yes.
Other than Stardust.
Oh, that's right. It's not Starfall anymore. It might be.
Yeah.
Dead name
I
in
don't
the
like
ride.
the new name, but other than anything at Epic, because they're in their own league, I'd say probably Alpen Fury and then maybe Sirens Curse. And also Circuit Breaker, too. I kind of forgot that's opening. There's a lot coming, though. There's
Quantum
so
Accelerator,
much.
though?
No. It'll be good, but it's not up in those leagues. Rapterra should be fun. What
There's
else?
just
Big
so much.
Bad Wolf 2.0.
Oh, we already talked about that one. I'm not excited. Well, I'm excited for it, but I don't like the name.
Listen, if there's swinging cars involved, I'm excited.
There's
There's
not
no
going to be
swinging
any
cars
swing
on Phoenix
cars.
Rising, so I doubt they'll be on this.
A man can dream.
Man can dream. It's true. Medusa or Nitro? Nitro.
Nitro.
We know Bacon Chris would probably vote Medusa, though. That is his favorite in
Yes,
the park.
definitely would. Good evening, Katie. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Lots of the movie stuff. I would have taken out Joker for a wing, 100%. In fact, I remember the rumor mill had us getting a wing, whether it was a clone or X-Flight or something similar. That's what we were getting. And then whatever happened, happened. That would have been a great ride for us, though. I would swap out Kid Flash over Georgia with Sirens Curse because that coaster has been nothing but a maintenance nightmare. Sirens Curse
swap
has
out
a lot more space than Kid Flash, so
that's a hard comparison.
although it would be cool to see that go there and be like themed to Harley Quinn or the Joker. Call it Joker's Revenge, pay homage to the one that used to be at Fiesta. Actually, it could just go to Fiesta. That would be sweet.
Hmm.
What did they use the tent where Conjuring is before? It was season pass processing for a while.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Alcatraz.
It was Alcatraz. It's been a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
That tent's got to go, though.
What'd you say?
That tent's got to go.
Yeah, it's a little worse for wear right now.
Mm-hmm.
Great Escape is my home park. Do you think they're gonna separate? I'm not gonna try to continue reading that. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I think for now all the parks are gonna stay together, and maybe after a year, if say financials don't go the way they want them to, then they'll probably knock off some parks. Imagine if Cedar Fair took over Hershey, all of their top coasters would be gone. That's true. All they would have left is Wildcat and Candy. Everything else would be gone.
Mm.
If it's an Intamin, it'd be gone. A third water ride, you say? Mock Power Splash next to Joker. There would actually be room. I don't know if there's enough room because I've been in the presence of a Mock Power Splash. I don't think that's enough room. You'd have to go into BB&P.
Or you just take out a lot of that pathway.
Yeah,
But
well,
then-
let's see how the
From the end of Joker to BB&P, like BB&P goes right there. There's backs of rides right there. So
True.
I don't think there'd be
let's
enough room.
let's see how the intimate version works, because maybe that'll be my substitute.
That would be so stupid though to have those two right next to each other. It would look weird.
Oh wait, I didn't get to talk about what is it, Pantherian?
Pantherian.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk about it. I had this crazy idea that I thought would be so cool, and I know they're not going to do it, but listen, Keith and Mini, if you're listening, all of us enthusiasts would love this. What, instead of like, remember the gentlemen start your engines like thing as you went out of the station?
Yeah.
It should be gentlemen start your, and then like you hear like a roar from like
Splash, like a
Panther,
crowd,
and
yeah.
then they go, wait, what is that? And then you hear and then you go out of station. I think that'd be so
That'd
funny.
be cool, actually.
Right? I think that'd be so funny.
Yeah.
I hope they still
That's
keep like something of a NASCAR. Like they should have a race car play a role somehow. Like, you know, maybe he was in a race and he got lost off track and wound up in Jungle X and he's, you know, going through the woods and then found that. It could work.
Lots of different ideas, but listen,
As long as you
at
can
one-
get past the fact that you're walking past aliens to get there.
I still think it should have been themed to space like Orion and call it like Interstellar 305. Still
I think
at
it's really
305.
weird that like half the park is themed to Jungle X now.
I know, I'm like, bro, because they're gonna add Anaconda in there. It's a whole thing.
Let's see. Oh, here we go again. If they remove King Kong Green Lantern, do you guys think Great Adventure will get a Giga in that spot or a hotel? Neither.
I don't want to think about this.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to think about it.
Can we stop the cock push? I don't want to think about this anymore. I'm gonna go to tears.
It's true. Just
man.
imagine being in my position as you're scrolling through the comments. It's all, did you hear about the King Kong rumor? Is it going to happen? Is it real? I don't want
That's
to
the
think about it
problem. No
anymore.
one's really thinking about what Colin has to go through in all of this. So I wish the
Well,
park would
I
just
know.
make up its mind.
It's not about me, but just go ride Con and enjoy it while it's here. Hi, Colin. Next year, should I travel to Carowinds for my school spring break trip since Fury 325? Well, if Fury 325 is your all-time bucket list coaster, go for it, for sure. I heard that Firebird at Six Flags America was a brutally painful ride.
I
I
know
wouldn't
it's a
say
painfully
brutal.
brutal ride.
It's not great. It's okay.
It's good on opposite day.
Sure. Let's see. This is all of those. Helios Hotel sold out the first few days by like 7 a.m. when the tickets dropped, which is nuts. Drones for How to Train Your Dragon area imitate dragons. New mini games in Nintendo World. No new rides. This is all from New York Comic Con. Meet and greets, Toothless, Donkey Kong. That's awesome.
Huh.
What are your thoughts on the dueling RMC single rail at Wallaby called Yoy? I hate that name.
Yoy.
It looks like a great ride. But
I want to know what the
hate
drop's gonna look like.
What?
I want to know what the drop's gonna look like. Is it gonna be a standard drop or is it gonna be like something? Cool?
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm surprised they haven't built that yet. I'm really curious what that's going to look like. I wonder also how long it is, because we really don't know much of anything about it other than what's there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Is it going to be like a moving loading station, or is it gates?
I would assume not, because then the dueling wouldn't work that well. Because it's not a
I mean,
Mobius.
that's true.
At least
But
as far as
Jersey Devil, you can stop them.
What?
Jersey Devil, you stop them at the end of the station sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Let's see. Leviathan or Nitro? That's actually a good question. Let me consult my rankings. If I even put Leviathan in yet. I probably would say Leviathan, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't even know if I ranked Leviathan yet. Shoot. Yes, the Leviathan is ever so slightly higher than Nitro. Let's see.
Leviathan's in my top 10.
Leviathan's in my top 40, I think. Would you rather be at Canada's Wonderland or Great Adventure? Great Adventure has the better top coasters, and it's usually not as crowded as Wonderland, so I would say Great Adventure, but I think Wonderland, it's kind of hard to say, because Wonderland, coaster-wise, definitely is not as good, but park-wise is way better. So it's kind of a hard choice. I think with Alpenfury, it'll definitely help. That's for sure. Yes, I agree. It should have just been called Wolf's Revenge. The Big Bad Wolf, the Wolf's Revenge is a stupid name. Will Great Adventure have an RMC before the year 2030? They already have an RMC. It's called Jersey Devil. But if you're talking a traditional RMC, I don't think so. When El Toro gets older, do you think it should get RMC'd? No. I don't think so. I watched this video and they wanted to put Big Bear Mountain in Kaz spot. If that happened, Great Adventure. The social team is not responsible for picking what rides go where. But yeah, if they replaced, again, theoretically, if they were to replace a ride as big as Ka with something like Big Bear, I don't think that'd go over too well. What's a better park, Dorney or Hershey? It's Hershey. I mean, they're on two different calibers. This is a really interesting one. If Top Thrill 2 fails, I hope Millennium Force gets the axe and they get a new Giga. So you want them to rip out Top Thrill, rip out Millennium, and then put a new Giga. That, I don't know. What? All right, Ronaldo, you do not need to spam the chat. I will get down there eventually. You're going in timeout. Sorry.
Digital timeout.
Let's see. It would make an S tier RMC, but El Toro is already a Immaculate Coaster, so no. I don't even know if it would make an S tier RMC, honestly. There's not that much to work with. Let's see. I want a Mach Giga at Great Adventure. If we get a Giga, that is the Giga I want. An Intamin or a Mach. That is what I want.
A Vekoma Giga, though, would not be a bad
Vekoma Giga could be cool. But
could be cool.
Knowing what we know about Mach and Intamin and what they can do, I think we know the obvious choice. I'm done with the Ka questions. This is a little ridiculous at this point. I'd like a Mach Striker at Great Adventure. That would be a good fit. I think a Mach Striker would actually be excellent at Great Adventure, especially if it ran with like a ton of trains the way Europa does it with Voltron. It's perfect. Sammy, how is the 400-foot coaster you're building?
Fun fact, Built to Thrill is actually renovating Ka, and that's where all the rumors are stemming from.
There you go.
So there's your answer, everybody. No more Ka questions after this point.
What are you guys' thoughts on Dark Knight? I dislike it more than Skull just because it feels like... So I think what makes me like Dark Knight a lot is because I love the movie, and my love for the movie kind of goes hand in hand with me liking the ride. I would have Skull Mountain over it if Skull Mountain had better theming like it used to, but it doesn't anymore. So, what about Marineland? Who do you think will buy it? What is your opinion? I don't know. Do we think Marineland's going to bounce back, or do we think it's going to just close?
I did hear that Marineland had a very unfortunate season this year where they had like two things open. Yeah, nothing opened, and they were open for like maybe the summer, maybe.
Yeah, it was very weak.
So I don't know if this is like a transitional period where like someone actually did buy it out. It's prime real estate.
I got to jump in for a second. I'm seeing JD is responding to me saying that the social media team doesn't make the decisions on coasters being built. That is true.
That is very true.
They said that they would get a ton of backlash, which of course they would. I mean, they're going to get a ton of backlash for anything, even though it's not their fault. So I'm sure that'll happen eventually pretty soon as well.
Don't blame the PR teams. Just
No,
be mad at the
PR
idea.
is trying to do whatever they can to calm down the situation. It's called public relations for a reason. Relations aren't always good.
Nope.
Let's see. If Universal buys Marineland, well, that will not happen. They're just not on Universal's caliber. Prediction. King Ka and Superman at Magic Mountain removed by 2026, leaving Top Thrill 2 as the world's only 400-plus launch coaster. That's assuming Top Thrill 2 is still there by 2026. We don't know what's going to happen with it. I'm also going to be putting the line in the chat in about 2 minutes, so send in your last questions before the line is there. Let's see. What should replace Kid Flash since that coaster is likely permanent? Well, it's not permanently closed. Is it open right now? I don't really know.
Let me look.
No, I don't think so.
I
wouldn't
even bother, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not. I won't be surprised if they go.
SBNO according to RCDB right now.
What's with all these replacing questions?
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's a
people
hot
who get
time
rid
to
of it.
be replacing your rides.
I don't know what would replace it. There's not really much room
Quantum
there.
accelerator, maybe.
It'll probably
That'd
be
be
like
cool.
El Diablo, where they just replace it with nothing.
Nothing.
Or a new pathway.
But we'll,
That's what we got.
but we'll leave your station there.
Yeah, there you go.
You mean the deck?
Oh, here's a good idea. Rollback stories for anyone that's had them. Tom, you have not, correct?
I've been chasing a rollback for almost 20 years.
Sammy, you've gotten
I
a
have
copy.
Three.
Whoa.
Wow.
2017 opening day, double rollback.
I remember
Pretty much
that one.
Same situation as you. I think you were there that day, but I never.
Damn,
I
I
was
was
there.
also there that day working as a ride.
I remember
I was at the
watching it
big
happen.
wheel.
Yeah, it was the first like rollback pretty much of the day. I think it was the first ride of the day, and it rolled back, put us back in the line. They launched a couple trains, then they got us back on, and then it rolled back again. And then they were like, "Okay, we're gonna be down for a bit."
Where
it
were
was
you
just
sitting
cold.
for it?
The first one I was in, I think it was like row 7, and then everybody had left when it rolled back because they said they were down. And then I got into row 4 for the second one.
Hold that thought.
Yep, super chat. Sorry, Sammy. Pause.
You're good.
Thank you, Brian, again for the super chat. Where would you guys rank Fright Fest Extreme compared to Fright Fest years of past? See, it's kind of hard because it's very different than years past, right? Like we have all these IP mazes. I'm going to be completely honest. I did not think the IP mazes were as good as Great Adventure's original mazes. I think there's a noticeable jump in quality from Asylum and Big Top to the IPs. I hope that in years to come, the IPs kind of get the same love and attention that the other ones got. I feel like they kind of lock themselves into a weird spot with the IPs where they can't be as creative. And honestly, I think that harms them a little more than the name recognition of the brands that they're using helps them. So I'm not too sure how I feel about the IPs going forward. I thought last year Conjuring was actually really good, but then
I
Saw
think
was
the thing about
year,
the IPs is
none of them really jumped out at me as phenomenal.
the IPs you want to be more immersed in the story, and that's why Conjuring was so good last year because of the pre-show.
Yep.
And like it felt like a little bit more of you were a part of like the story rather than you were walking through the story.
This year they were designed more for like a conga line style approach,
Yeah.
which doesn't really work in my opinion.
But Asylum was really good.
Oh, Asylum was by far the best thing. One of the
Blows
best things
everything
they've
out of the
ever
water.
done for Fright Fest. Blade
yeah.
Drummers was great. I still haven't seen Unleashed yet this year, but I've heard Unleashed is phenomenal this year. And Dead Man's I've also heard is great. So I also thought that the way they did the scare zones was weird this year because I feel that they're not placed in the most practical spots. They're put in these corner, like for instance, Demon District and the Pirates area. they're put in corners of the park that a lot of people do not walk through. Like the Demon District, you're only going to walk through it if you're riding Jersey Devil. The Pirates thing, you're only going to walk through it if you're going on one of those rides down there. Otherwise, you're never really going to encounter it. So I think in years to come, if they went for something like what Dorney does, Dorney, I think, still has the best overall haunt event out of all the parks I've done for haunt events, because the whole park is perfectly done for haunt. There's barely any dead zones, and the only dead zones, I wouldn't even really call them dead zones. They're just kind of like where you get a little bit of a break. But as you walk through the whole park, you're constantly coming across more and more, which I think is great. And another super chat. What is your prediction for 2026? I'm going to assume, oh my God, I typed no more coasters, not no more questions. Sorry.
No more coasters are all done.
That. It's late. If you're talking for Great Adventure, that kind of hinges on a lot of things we don't know about yet. I'm assuming a new coaster for sure, because Cedar Fair wants to invest in the park. I really can't say right now. It's too early. So I'm going to go back up to where we were. We were talking about Sammy's rollbacks. Sammy.
Oh, yeah. So the two from 2017, row 4, row 7. And then there was one more in 2018, random summer day for, again, one of the first rides of the day. I thought it was going to make it over, and then it didn't. I was sitting in row 3 for that one.
Ace, you haven't gotten a rollback on Ka, right? But you've got one on Dragster.
No, unfortunately. However, I did get a rollback on Dragster before they converted it to TT2, and I was with this lady, and obviously, I was sitting in my front row, and I went up, and I was like, oh, you know what, expletive rollback, and we went backwards. It was a great experience, and then we went again. They had to reset it, and then we went up the tower.
Where were you riding for your rollback?
So that was pretty cool.
What seat were you in?
Front row, right seat, my favorite seat.
It's funny, that's the seat I was in for my rollbacks.
Yeah, the front row of Dragster, the right seat.
So I had a very close, I was so close to getting a rollback on Dragster. I did get the video of it, which, considering I don't go to Cedar Point like super often, I was pretty happy about that. If I had to guess, I was probably 4 trains away from getting that rollback. But of course, you guys know I got my double rollback a few weeks ago on Ka, in the front row, right seat of Teal Train. And we got it pretty far too. So say this is, I can't really do it that well. Say this is the top hat. We got to like right up here, like to where it gets like it flattens out, but doesn't go all the way. That's where we got. And I was so glad I was in the front row, because obviously I've thought about rollbacks ever since I rode Ka for the first time, what it might feel like. And I always knew that the seat to be in for a rollback would be the front row, because that's where you're going to get the most whip going back down. And the whip you got was so good. You just got launched up out of your seat. And then as you're suspended midair like that, the twist back kind of rockets you to the side a little bit, kind of like Top Thrill 2 style. Just amazing. And like I said earlier, the Top Thrill 2 rollback has nothing on a real rollback that you get on Dragster or Ka.
Now, if you was going for a car record, obviously yours stands at 41.
41.
Would you count that as a half or half a ride?
For the sake of that, each launch I would consider a cycle.
No, it's over the top hat.
All right, I'm not gonna. Each launch counts as half of the experience, but if you're counting rides like that, I would say it would be 41 King to Ka rides plus 2 rollback rides. That's the way I would look at it. Total 43, because you launched 43 times. You went over 100 miles an hour 43 times. That's the way I look at it. You put the wear on the hydraulic system and the launch 43 times, which at the end of the day, majority of the wear and tear on that ride is on the launch system, not on anything else. That's the way I look at it. Anyways, though, before we get convoluted in all this, any news on the SNS Axis coasters? Well, there's either 1 or 2 being built indoors, 1 in Saudi Arabia, right? Or something like that, yeah. It's being built. I really wish they would build one over here so we can actually ride it, but we'll see how it goes. Great America does really good with their DC coaster placements. I've not been there yet, so I cannot speak to that. But I know they have their whole dedicated DC Universe area. I'm still a big fan of the family coaster that Great Adventure had in the park recommendation survey earlier in the season. I agree. I think they could really use a big family coaster, but they need a big thrill coaster first, in my opinion. And honestly, there's some ride, like Skull Mountain, for instance, other than here, ignoring the rumors about Ka and Lantern, we're going to act like they don't exist. Skull Mountain would be at the top of my list for the next coaster to go. Because each year, it gets more and more to the point where it's like, all right, they got to do a refurb or something with it. And I think we're at the point now where that definitely needs to happen. I love Sammy's idea of tearing down the building and rebuilding it with Escape from Skull Mountain and a new family coaster. I think that'd be awesome because Skull Mountain has been a really iconic ride at the park for years.
There was a lot of jaw-dropping stuff this year with Skull Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It's one way to put it. But yeah, I would love to see it. I honestly, a coaster like Big Bear Mountain, I think would be excellent at that park. But we need a thrill coaster first. Again, not talking about Ka. Actually, this one's interesting, so I'll answer it. What if we got Ka taken down a Green Lantern and we got a massive Giga Leg Nitro and it can even go towards the Plaza del Carnaval area? But do you really need that much space for one coaster? That's like a Falcon's Flight level amount of area.
Why don't we just put Falcon's Flight there then?
At that point, yeah. Let's see. I think the former outdoor show area near the entrance of Golden Kingdom near Twister would be a great coaster spot. That's an interesting area. I'm honestly surprised it's still the way it is because for a while there was no wild walkway. You'd have to walk through that animal enclosure to get from Golden Kingdom to Plaza Del. But then they closed it off, but it's all still intact. So I'm kind of surprised it's still there, like I said. I would like to see it eventually be renovated, but that could be a good coaster spot for sure. What do you think about year-round mazes? I think it's awesome. I know La Ronde has one, or they did have one. Maison Rouge, Labyrinth of Terror, I think it's called. I think it's cool, but then again, staffing scare actors year-round is probably not that easy. So, it doesn't always work. But I think it's a good idea in concept. Are you going to roller coaster road?
It's like Ghost in the Machine.
Monorail. Yes.
Monorail.
Let's see. Great Adventure gets a Giga. Would you rather B&M or Intamin do it? Intamin. Definitely Intamin. Can I go fishing in Six Flags? What you can do is go on Prosper Town with a kayak. I don't know if you could fish there, but I know you could go kayaking there. And then you get great views of Nitro and Jersey Devil. Let's see. Whatever happens in the next few weeks, I think it's the worst time to announce anything because of what happened this year. And this whole year was about honoring the park's history. Such irony. That is true. If anything gets announced. Imagine a tilt coaster over the Corey Wall Fiesta. That would be nuts.
Dude,
the logistics of making that happen will never come to be, but that would be unbelievable.
I don't know if it'd be. I don't even know if that could happen. I wouldn't put
You
it
know
on
how much money that would cost? Because think the structure for the tilt mechanism would have to be right up against the edge of the quarry. So you're going to have to dig into the quarry, hope nothing happens to the quarry itself. With the structure, because for all you know, when you start digging that close to the edge of it, you could cause a collapse or something. And there's a lot to consider with that. That would be amazing. I'd like to see them getting a tilt coaster though, because they have Dr. D. But then again, Sirens Curse is going right next to Valraven, so anything's possible, I guess.
It doesn't have to go 90 degrees to be a tilt coaster.
No, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose if you're not going 90, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not answering these cock questions. Oh my lord, it's all cock questions.
No cock questions.
No more. Well, we're not accepting any new questions anyway. Should I go back to a season pass this upcoming year or go with the pass? Because the members, no, they didn't get rid of Six Flags Plus. If you still have Six Flags Plus, if you keep paying for it, it's still valid. So don't cancel it if you still have it.
But if you want to start fresh and you want all the parks, then go
But
for
you
the
can
new
still get the
passes.
All Park Passport with Six Flags Plus.
Yeah, but how do the discounts and all that stuff work now?
Well, only the legacy, like whichever chain you bought your pass from, it only applies to that legacy chain.
I thought we're all one though.
Well, not yet. Will King Dekai get something like Top Thrill 2? I do not think so, truly. Should Great Adventure build an RMC where Rolling Thunder used to be? I mean, that's been our fever dream for years. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Listen, if they took out Ka and did that, I mean, maybe I'd be okay.
Yeah. Oh boy, what a question this is. Do you know any pros and cons about the Six Flags and Cedar Fair merger? That's worth a video on its own. There's way too much to talk about right now. Like, way too much. And if you ask me this again in a year, I'll have a lot more to say. Put it that way.
Big old corporate wedding.
Yeah.
There's a
lot.
to say.
There's a lot good and a lot bad, and I don't know which one outweighs which. Hi, when will the Flash be running for real? Spring 2025. How do you think the new Six Flags will handle the IPs? Would they provide Warner Brothers IPs over the Peanuts, or will they have Bugs Bunny and Snoopy coexist one day? Honestly, the way I hope they go about the IPs, I hope they just completely do away with DC. They don't build any more DC rides. I'd be okay with that. And they just, instead of having, because a lot of these generic themed kids areas, there's only a couple I think actually have good themes, like Timbertown I think is good. But I would not be opposed to seeing Bugs Bunny Lands and Camp Snoopy's or Planet Snoopy's at all the parks. Like a mix of both. I think that actually be really cool. What is your least favorite invert? That's a tricky thing to think about, actually. I don't dislike any of them.
Can I say Goliath at Six Flags New England?
Well, I guess. I'm thinking more B&M.
Oh, B&M and listen. I thought Phoenix Rising was fun.
Nah, it doesn't count.
Play. What?
A thrill invert. The real inverts.
The real inverts. I
Banshee's
don't like Raptor.
my least favorite.
I don't like Raptor.
Raptor? I don't like Banshee.
Like
I've never liked Banshee very much.
Never liked Raptor.
Fair enough. What about you, Ace and Tom?
My least favorite invert. I really have to. You know what? I don't have to think about it. If you give me a few seconds.
Ace fell asleep, so I'm going to take him off the stream.
Oh, did he fall? Oh, is he actually sleeping right now? That's beautiful. Sorry, I'm doing some investigative homework to see if maybe I can make some of my coaster pipeline. I guess you could say pipeline dreams come true. So that's kind of where my head's been. But I did actually start to rank all my coasters, and right now, as it sits, and I can't believe we didn't think of this already. Least favorite floorless has to be Firebird at Six Flags America. Oh wait, invert. We're at invert. Sorry, floorless is first on my list. Right now, that has to go to Over Texas's Batman, for me at least.
Fair. What's your favorite wooden RMC? Personally, wait a minute. Well, Wicked Cyclone is not a wooden RMC.
Dude, does Noah mean hybrids? Maybe.
If you're saying wooden RMCs, my favorite is Launched Lightning Rod. I imagine Chain Rod probably won't be my favorite anymore. I'll probably like Outlaw Run better. Those are the only two I've ridden though. I haven't been on Goliath or Wildfire. If you're talking RMC hybrid, it's Gwazi.
I don't know, man. Wildcats Revenge is pretty good, man.
Wildcats
pretty good.
2 or 3 for me.
I don't know, man. I think that's better than Gwazi.
No.
I don't know. Hard decision.
I think Great Adventure needs a coaster like X2. Well, unfortunately, that will never happen, even though that would be great.
Unfortunately, that's technically Joker. Technically,
yeah. Do you think they should bring back freestyle soda machines? I do, because the other Cedar Fair parks do have it, and they're great. And they should bring the paper cup plan to all the Six Flags parks. That would be excellent.
And they can do the universal thing where like you put your cup down and then it lets you fill, and it won't
Yeah,
let you
exactly.
fill unless
If they're really that concerned about it.
Yeah,
I thought about this morning as I was like just kind of like doing dishes and cleaning out my membership tumbler. I'm like, damn, this is just going to be like my mobile coffee cup next year because it will be unusable at the parks.
Yeah, it's true. Colin, I kind of answered this, but I'll answer it again for you because you did ask it first. It's not my favorite year of Fright Fest, just because I feel like the scare zones could have been a little better. And the rest of the mazes as a whole were very hit or miss, other than Asylum and Big Top. It definitely depended on the night if you had good staffing or not. But I would say it was good. It was good. I definitely liked Dark Nights at Hershey and Haunted Dorney better, though. This year, at least. Is the Skyway Great Adventure ever going to open again? As far as we know, the official word from the park is that it will be refurbished at some point. And I imagine that is probably what they're hoping to do. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it winds up getting, Sammy, what's the name of the company? Doppelmayr. I would not be surprised if Doppelmayr came in, redid the whole thing, added an extra station, maybe at the Safari, maybe at Hurricane Harbor, maybe at Savannah Sunset, kind of Skyliner style. I think that'd be really cool.
Dude, that would be so dope.
That would be just the best, truly.
Consistent loading. Oh my god, throughput would be amazing.
Yes, it would. But we can dream.
Can dream.
If you had, that's a good question. If you had to choose, would you rather have a rollback or a boost mode ride on Ka? I know Tom's answer.
Yeah.
Having experienced both, here, it depends where I'm sitting. If I'm sitting in rows 1 or 2, I will take the rollback. But if I'm sitting anywhere else, probably boost mode, just because I feel like the rollback in the other seats wouldn't feel as good.
Listen, so Colin's gotten like the aftermath of a boost mode.
If I had never gotten a rollback, it would 100% be rollback. I will say that for sure.
I've done like an actual boost mode. Like, think of Top Thrill 2. I'd rather that. I'd take that any day.
It's amazing. Having ridden Top Thrill 2, I think I have a pretty fair judgment of what that would feel like on Ka, which I've ridden Ka in the app, because what winds up happening, they'll run it in boost mode, and then the launch system is still sort of, I guess you could call it a cooldown period, where it's going from the boost mode back down to normal speed. So those first couple rides just rips over the top. And
it's still the pure difference that I've seen from that first ride of like after like the boosts and actually having a boost, still tremendously different.
But like
crazy different.
Even a back row ride on Ka with that trim on boost mode is still ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I would probably take the boost mode. Because it is pretty rare too. It's not as rare as a rollback, but it's rare. What's an IP maze? Those are the mazes that are based on intellectual property. So this year it's Texas Chainsaw, Stranger Things, Trick or Treat, Conjuring, Army of the Dead, and Saw. And is that it? That is it. Oh shoot. Well,
I guess, to keep it going a little bit, I have not yet experienced all the Fright Fest mazes. Maybe next weekend I'll try the rest of them.
What are you missing?
I am missing Big Top Terror, Army of the Dead, Stranger Things, and there's one more.
Conjuring?
No, I did Conjuring, and I was kind of underwhelmed.
Texas Chainsaw?
Did that one, and I loved it.
Trick or Treat, you did
that.
Witches?
Witches, that's it. The Witches thing. That I did not do, but
it's pretty good.
Hopefully this week.
Is it the same as previous years? I forget.
No, it's different.
Well, because that was the mirror.
I don't remember. I did it once, and I didn't even think about it afterwards.
No, it is different.
Is it like actually a decent mirror maze now?
I would say so.
Because in years past, Reflections has kind of felt like an afterthought.
Yeah, I would agree. Oh my God, Ace is back.
He's back from the dead.
Let's see if he's Oh, he's awake. Hello, Ace.
Or is he sleeping with his eyes open?
Yeah, yesterday was very exhausting. Yesterday, from going to Great Adventure for 2.5 hours, and the party all day for you guys. Oh
absolutely,
my God!
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that went on yesterday for you. You were at Great Adventure all day. It was a good day for you. But anyways, we're gonna end the stream
Yeah,
there.
and
We
an
ran
exhausting
through all the
week, too.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Tom, want to plug your social media one last time?
Sure. Tom's Tracks 99 on Instagram. The floodgates are starting to open for me to post more, so be on the lookout for that.
Ace. Ace.
Hey, you can find me at Ace Car Facebook.
And Sammy.
Built to throw as
Yep.
normally.
Can you hear me?
And with all that being said, guys, that is going to do it for tonight's stream. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe to Hollywood Studios and stay tuned for more content coming very, very soon. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.